now, and it's not about MS anymore. It's about just working out in this community and being a part of the community. And you can go there, you come to MS Forward and everybody gets it. You can talk to everybody about it. But that's, I think, my spin, if you will, on my disease has changed to a more positive thing, just because I've been able to be a part of MS Forward Gym. And it's not just a gym, I just can't say it enough, it's a community. It's really a community.
It's murder, go crazy, berserker.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SimPossible V-Car Series race here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway, the world's fastest half-mile, Thunder Valley, the last great Coliseum. Regardless of whatever you call it, this half-mile track always gives us a lot of action. I'm Peter Short, and joining me in the booth tonight, as always, is Cameron Rich. Carlos Acosta will be manning all the cameras. And Cameron, this place is going to be really exciting here tonight.
Yeah, a bit different than last week. We were at Texas Motor Speedway, the big 1.5 mile quad oval. There we saw Dave Wilson take the checkered flag after a bit of controversy on that win, but you know, he is I don't believe he's actually here tonight just yet. He might show up, maybe not, but definitely going to be a good show. Short tracks are one of my favorite tracks. I don't know about you, Peter, but just watching these cars go around this half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway, these high banks, and you know, just watching them kind of traverse the track is just always so cool to watch, and I'm really excited for tonight.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, you know, Bristol Motor Speedway is a variably banked racetrack. I expect to see a lot of these drivers running pretty high on the racetrack because that is the preferred line around this track. You know, running right up close to the wall, you get a lot of stuff there just due to the fact that there's a lot of banking. But the low line is technically the shortest way around the track, so I do expect to see quite a bit of passing here tonight, just because, you know, there are different grooves here to run, and it's a day race here at Bristol, which we don't see all too often. Not too many leagues run the day races, so that will definitely be exciting to see. And the track temperature being 107 degrees Fahrenheit currently partly cloudy ambient temperature of 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So this track should be pretty slick tonight.
Absolutely, and really the daytime at Bristol really makes for some good multi-groove racing. You get the high side where the cars normally want to run. It gets a little hot and slick up there. The rubber kind of comes down and gets really hot and slick, and you'll see cars kind of move down the track as opposed to moving up like you would normally see. So I think we're going to see a really good race here tonight at this track temperature, and it's not too hot. The track temperature is 106 right now, so it is. The track is quite hot, but the ambient temperature is pretty not hot. But definitely practice has just ended, and Tim Masters at the top of the board with a 15.185, good lap time by him. So we'll see if he can replicate that in qualifying.
Yeah, and Alan Capers and AJ Digby were tied for second in practice, both running a 15.255. Tanner Sharp fourth in practice, 15.282. Kyle Zimmer was 5th. As you see, AJ Digby in the number 14 machine rolling off onto the racetrack here. Going to put in his first qualifying laps here. Going to run kind of the middle groove through turns number 3 and 4. And Cameron, qualifying here at Bristol Motor Speedway, it seems like the low line is where you want to be, at least for qualifying. Using that shortest way around the racetrack, make the most of your tires. But like you said, these drivers will be searching for grip once the green flag flies.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We saw AJ, he got in the wall there just a bit, so it's going to disqualify his lap. He might have gotten a little bit of push off that number 4 of Nate Catilla in front of him, but really, I've honestly, as a driver, never been able to figure out how to qualify here. It's just, I never know if I want to run the middle line, the top line, or the low line. AJ got in the wall again there, so he's going to have to come out and make another run. But it's really hard to know what kind of run or what kind of line you want to run here, because like you said, Peter, the top line is the preferred groove because it is banked more up there, but of course the low line is the shortest way around. But you just kind of want to optimize those two right there and maybe run the middle line. Saw Tanner Sharp right there run a little bit in the middle side. He's right in the middle of the track actually, so probably doing the right thing.
Yeah, but here at Bristol Motor Speedway, you're going to be flirting with the wall just about every lap. And you and I know if you just tap that wall just a little bit, iRacing will disqualify the lap time. So if that does indeed happen, your lap's all of a sudden invalidated. And I'm sure some of these drivers just want to go out there, get a clean lap in. Just lay down some kind of lap. You still have plenty of time, because this is an open qualifying session, to come down on pit road, regroup, and go out there to try and get a fast lap. Like what we saw out of AJ Digby, he hit the wall and spun, but he's now been able to come back out on the track, and he currently sits 3rd. Tanner Sharp currently on the provisional pole of 15.556, and Cameron, kind of surprising, there seems to be a pretty big fall off from practice to qualifying, which we don't often see.
Yeah, it seems the track has gotten a little bit hotter, about a degree or two since practice, but we all know in iRacing that 2 degrees is a whole lot, and really that can kind of explain what we're seeing. But either way, yeah, like you said, a huge fall off. I'm really surprised, even with knowing that it we're 0.3 off what we saw in practice, so that's pretty surprising.
Yeah, Doug McCollum in the number 33 actually went out there 2nd fastest on the board, only 1/100th of a second behind Tanner Sharp. So threes are wild here, currently in qualifying with about 1.5 minutes left. Tanner Sharp in the number 3 currently sitting first. Oh man, look at that. Who was that? That was Tim Masters in the number 9 machine, who had to go up to the top of the racetrack to avoid a spun race car. You're looking at the number 3 of Tanner Sharp here. Tanner Sharp looking for a good points night here tonight. And Cameron, Dave Wilson, he's the points leader, not here tonight. That's a little bit surprising. Dave Wilson, of course, one of the staples of this league, pretty much here each and every week. But no sign of the number 20 so far. Kyle Zimmer currently sits 2nd in points, so he's looking for a big points night. Of course, coming off of an absolute spectacular race at Homestead, Miami, getting the Truck Series title. Hashtag spoiler alert, should have said that beforehand, but if you didn't go watch that Truck Series race on Monday night here on 3Wide TV, go back and check it out, because it was absolutely spectacular. 3 wide for the championship on the last lap. I don't think you could ask for anything more, as you see Tim Masters pull that number 9 machine off the track.
Absolutely. Can we just kind of put a plug in for us a little bit? 3Wide TV, 3Wide for the championship. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen as just kind of a spectator. Really, it was the coolest thing I've ever seen in sim racing right there. So definitely go check that out.
Yeah, but I'm sure these drivers will put on a show here once again tonight. Tanner Sharp has actually improved on his qualifying lap time. He got down to a 15.509. AJ Digby showing some pace. He's now up to 2nd. Doug McCollum sits 3rd. Kyle Zimmer 4th. Fernando Matos 5th. And oh man, that's not how you get a faster lap in there, Tanner, as looks like qualifying has ended. But Tanner Sharp getting a pole here, and we've seen Tanner Sharp show a lot of pace on short tracks over the years, Cameron. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that number 3 in victory lane tonight.
Yeah, I've talked to Tanner a bunch, and he really likes the short tracks. So a lot of these drivers do. Really, they seem to be more driver-oriented than, say, the Texas Motor Speedways or the Charlottes that are those bigger tracks. But definitely, I think, it's going to be a track that really plays into a driver's hands tonight.
Definitely going to be keeping an eye on the track conditions, where the drivers are running throughout the run. Tire wear is actually a fairly important thing here at Bristol Motor Speedway, more so than you would think, more so than at a short track like Martinsville. Bristol, because of the high speeds, tire wear is important. But now let's go down to the grid. Starting on the front row, your pole sitter driver of the number 3 machine, Tanner Sharp, and alongside him, AJ Digby in the number 14 machine, looking to get another win tonight.
Started in third, we got the double 3, Doug McCollum, and then right to his outside, we got the Truck Series champion himself, Kyle Zimmer.
Fernando Matos in the number 17, seen a lot of pace out of him, definitely showing that muscle here in qualifying. And alongside him, the number 9 of Tim Masters, who is wicked fast when he shows up to race these things.
Starting in the 7th spot, we got Nate in the number 4 machine and Matthew Lesniewski in the number 24.
And on row number 5, Lee Wise will roll off in P9. And alongside him, Chris Roberge, driver of the number 98, will start 10th.
Row number 6 sees our last 2 drivers to take time, Alan Capers in 13 and Johnny Berardi in the number 99.
Tom Johnson in the number 56 and Travis Zudema, I should say, on row number 7, and Ryan Lowhead rounds out your 15 cars that will be starting here tonight for this 200 lap race. It's only 100 miles, but 200 laps around this joint is quite the race, and I'm looking forward to it as the pace car now rolling on the racetrack for their one and only pace lap, as pace car lights are off, and should be actually 2 pace laps, I think, but iRacing always throws me for a loop. Kind of depends. But anyway, that Ref RT12 pace car up front for now, at least. But we're getting set to go green flag racing here in just a little bit. Gotta keep an eye on those point standings, because Dave Wilson came into the night points leader, Kyle Zimmer second, Tanner Sharp third, Nate Catilla, the number 4 machine, comes into the night 4th in points. Kevin Cochran sits 5th in points. Tim Masters actually tied with Cochran on points for 5th. Alan Capers, Chris Roberge, they're tied for 7th in points. AJ Digby, he's sitting down in the 9th position. And I know AJ Digby, he's definitely looking for a good result tonight. He needs a good points night. He is just about 46 markers off the top man, which is Dave Wilson, who's not here tonight. So we'll have to see how everything unfolds here as the pace car enters into turn number 3 and 4. And this is the world's fastest half mile. So once these drivers hit that loud pedal, as the green flag coming out really early here, Tanner Sharp hard on the gas in that number 3 machine, and we're underway here at Bristol. Looks like everyone gets a fantastic start as they head off through turns number 1 and 2.
And Tanner gets that. He takes that low line to the advantage. He gets the jump on the 14 of Digby and pulls up right in front of him. Actually has a bit of a car length to lead on him right now. Really, that's not something I was going to kind of mention. That the high side is the preferred group here. This is a battle between the 98 of Burge and Fernando Matos. That's for the, I believe, the 8th spot. So that's a good battle on track right now. That's your first side-by-side battle. They're kind of strung out ahead of them. Kind of just getting settled here for the first few laps of the race. Ooh, got a 24 in the wall. That's Matthew Lesniewski right in front of these 2 drivers. Gets off the wall. He's kind of in the apron right now. Gets out of the way. Everything's going to be good with those cars right there.
Yeah, Nate Catilla in the number 4 actually had to back out of that there to avoid any type of contact. I have seen a couple of drivers flirt with that outside wall. Tim Masters got his Bristol stripe. We'll see a lot of drivers get that tonight as they run high up on the racetrack. There's some bumps up there, Cameron. If you hit them wrong, a little bit of a stack up back here in the back of the pack. A couple of drivers avoiding some cars in the wall. Billy Wise has some rear end damage on that number 32.
It's like Berardi and Wise got the wall pretty hard. Ooh, Mato's in the wall.
Caution is out. Oh, Nate Catilla. Hard impact there, and the number 17 has a blown engine. Hopefully he can get it back to pit road. I'll have to go back and see what happened here on the 3-wide TV replay. But they're coming through turns number 3 and 4, and ooh, the number 13 Capers caught the wall, came down, hit the side of the number 17, and absolutely nowhere for Catilla in the number 4, nowhere for him to go. And luckily for these drivers, they do have some fast repairs, so I do expect to see Matos use that fast repair, assuming he can make it back to his pit box. Riding on board with the number 4 machine now. You can see that contact happen right in front of him, and oh, he tried to avoid it, Cameron, but it was just a little bit too late.
Yeah, things happen so quickly at this racetrack. There's not much you can do. You see the pace car drive through him as he's kind of rolling on the track. But we already have some pit strategy being played. There's Tanner Sharp, he's on the pit road, but AJ Digby, Kyle Zimmer, Christopher, they all stayed out on the racetrack. So definitely really interesting to see how that's going to play out. We only got about 7 laps on the tires, so you know, like you said, tire wear does matter here, but it's not as bad as a track like, say, Atlanta or Darlington or something like that. So I think we'll see how it plays out, but it's definitely interesting to see how it has.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we saw not too long ago here on 3-wide TV an absolute thrilling finish in the ASRS SMS Cup Series, where one driver came down and took tires with about a 5 or 6 lap shootout and was able to race through the field using those fresh tires and won with a last lap pass. So I'm not going to say that tires are not important. And of course, I commentate that ASRS series with Tanner Sharp, who's in this race. And I'm sure Tanner might be going back and thinking about what he saw Will Worsler do in that race. So it'll be interesting to see how this pans out once we do go back to green with those about 7 laps of green flag running on the tires of Tom Johnson, AJ Digby, Chris Roberge, and Billy Wise.
And really, like you kind of said earlier, I kind of just want to pull this up a bit. You said 200 laps at Bristol. It is a long time, but if we can get some green running here, it really, really goes by in a hurry. So fast, in fact, that really you can kind of lose track of the laps if you're a driver, because you just kind of get tunnel vision because of the track being so small.
Oh yeah, if you can find your rhythm here at Bristol Motor Speedway and you get some green flag running, it just goes by so quickly if you're driving this track. At least if you're doing well. If you're in the back, it feels like an eternity, lap after lap. But it won't be an eternity until we're back to green flag racing. This case car here is about to turn off the racetrack. Pace car lights are off. This race will be in the hands of AJ Digby. Few laps older tires than some of the cars behind him. A green flag back in the air. Digby and Zimmer, they're side by side right at the stripe. Digby has that inside line. Zimmer's going to run that high line, see if he can get a run up off the corner. Isn't able to do contact. So. AJ Digby to the lead.
We had some contact between the 98 and the 32 for 3rd place. Looks like they were all good, but we almost had 3 wide through turns number 3 and 4 right there, but they got it sorted out. They're still battling there. You see it right.
Yeah, you're looking out the nose
he's up the 4th.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp's trying to go to the inside of Chris Roberge here for 3rd. Oh, the 24 Matthew Lesniewski around. That's the 56 of Tom Johnson involved. No caution here. We'll have to see if the 24 turning around will trigger it. Still no caution. There we go. Caution finally out here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Matthew Lesniewski suffering quite a bit of damage. That's some hard impact with the inside wall. To see, that contact happened just a little bit before that frame. We'll have to see if we can maybe get a little bit better view of it. Here we go. Going a little bit further back here on the 3-wide TV replay. There they are going through turns number 3 and 4. That number 24 to the outside. Ooh, the 24 clipped the outside wall. Shot down into that number 56 machine. Tom Johnson doesn't look like he got too much damage, but definitely that number 24 machine's hurt.
Yeah, and that's kind of a typical Bristol wreck, really. You see people get in the wall a lot and just kind of bounce off it a little bit, and, you know, you see a lot of side-by-side racing here, so that's kind of going to happen. But either way, it looks like they both got going again, so they'll get their cars repaired up and get back in the race.
Now, I wonder what's in the mind of AJ Digby. I mean, he's been out there now. As you see, Fernando Matos, he's going to take the wave around. He was the only car one lap down, so he will be the lucky dog. Doug McCollum also came down pit road. He pitted under the last caution, but he pitted again here. But I wonder what's going through the mind of AJ Digby, getting back to my thought, because that number 3 of Tanner Sharp, he's on fresher tires, and he was able to jump from the 5th position up to the 3rd position there in just a couple of laps. Maybe those tires are mattering here a little bit more than we thought, Cameron.
Yeah, that's definitely definitely a interesting thought, and he's going to be starting right behind him on this restart, starting in the 3rd spot. Tanner is, so maybe I was kind of eating crow a little bit. Maybe the tires do matter a little bit than I thought they would. Definitely, with the track temperature is pretty hot right now, about 103. So if it was a night race, it might be a little bit less pronounced, but yeah, like you said, tires are definitely seeming to matter. So, maybe AJ can kind of run that high side and hold Tanner off for a bit. But I think those tires will eventually come to play, as we see Alan Capers doing his normal thing of taking that cone's life in the back of the shot right there.
Well, Alan Capers didn't just get 1 cone; he got 2 cones. There's 2 cones down there on the entrance of pit road. Hopefully, he didn't get a black flag for like an unsafe pit exit or entrance or something of the sort, but he actually got 2 cones, and he's going to get the blue one on the backstretch too here. Face car lights are still on, so we still have a couple laps of pacing yet to do. But just a quick rundown through the field. Digby leads from Zimmer, Sharp, Masters, and Capers. That's your top 5. Billy Wise, Nate Catella, Travis Zudema, Johnny Berardi, and Fernando Matos, your top 10. Chris Roberge, Doug McCollum, Brian Lohan, Matthew Lesniewski, and Tom Johnson round out your field. Matthew Lesniewski and Tom Johnson both lost a lap. So the 24 and the 56 currently sit 1 lap down, but both of those drivers are on the circuit. So that's definitely good to see. All 15 of our starters here tonight still on the track, but we are only on lap number 18 of 200.
Yeah, and we're getting doubled up for the restart here again. Kyle Zimmer on the outside of AJ Digby. We'll see what Tanner can do on those new tires. Tim Masters running there. He was your 6th place starter in the field, so he's actually gained a few spots. So see what they can do on this restart. Pace car is off, making that hard left on pit road, and the green flag out early. Tim Masters actually pushing the number 25 of Zimmer on the restart. AJ gets a good restart on that bottom side. We'll see if he can hold the lead off turn number 2. But no, here comes Zimmer on the outside. Gets a great run down the backstretch. See if he can hold it through 3 and 4.
Yeah, and if Zimmer can just hold to that outside like he does here, he's going to pull ahead of Digby. I was just going to say, if that's where Zimmer
can contact!
Oh, man, Tanner Sharp in the outside. Well, Tim Masters with him. Those 2 cars are just glued together. The caution flag back in the air.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happened there, but it looks like they just kind of ran out of racetrack up there near the wall, right here on your screen right now. Tanner running that outside line, Masters just a little bit higher, and yeah, definitely they just kind of really, that wasn't either driver's fault. They just kind of running into each other. So another typical Bristol wreck you see here a lot, just trying to get that outside line, because you do have the most banking up there, and there's a lot of speed if you can run that outside wall line real well. So neither driver's fault right there.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's a lot of pace up there to be found if and when you can run it. But
more strategy being played here. AJ Digby down pit road with looks like Tim Masters. Kyle Zimmer staying out on the racetrack.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp. Not quite sure if Sharp did pit. I'd kind of expected him to pit because of his damage. Oh, he overshot his pit box just a little bit, had to back up. Hopefully that doesn't cost him all too much. Digby's down and away in that number 14 machine, but a lot of cars stayed out. Kyle Zimmer, one of those, Zudema, Roberge, Billy Wise, McCollum, Berardi, Blowhead, all staying out. And keep in mind that Doug McCollum actually pitted under the previous caution, the one just before this, so he's got relatively new tires, and he's now in the 5th position.
And one thing that's kind of interesting is Tanner Sharp did not take his fast repair. Of course, we've seen that a lot from him. He kind of tends to really be stingy with them. Doesn't like to take them whatsoever. And Bristol really not the most aero-sensitive racetrack. I mean, it doesn't matter here, but if you got a little bit banged up car, it really won't hurt you too much. So I don't think Tanner will be too much. He really didn't hit the wall all too incredibly hard there in that wreck.
I'm looking throughout the field, and Zudema and Kyle Zimmer, I think, are the only two cars, oh, Doug McCollum as well, that I don't see any form of damage on. At least I haven't seen any damage on those cars been accrued. I think every other car that I've seen throughout the field has accrued at least some form of damage in this race. They might have used a fast repair to get that car fixed, but Zimmer and Zudema definitely keeping their cars clean here in the early going, and they are currently sitting 1-2 in this race. The two Chevrolets up at the front, pace car lights still on. You do see Chris Roberge. He is your lone Toyota in this race, with his teammate, driver of the number 20, Dave Wilson, not starting this one. And definitely interesting to see Wilson not here. We'll have to see later this week, once point standings are updated, how that shakes up the point standings, because it could be fairly interesting going into our next few races, because we do have some good races coming up in the series. They basically follow the real-life NASCAR Grand National Series, as pace car lights have turned off. We're getting set to go back to green flag racing here in just a minute, Cameron.
Yeah, it's interesting you call it the Grand National Series, because that's a term I haven't heard in a while. So it's kind of refreshing to hear that again. But definitely,
yeah, I think that's the real name for this series. In my opinion, that's the real name for this series.
Yeah, very very well. But either way, the pace car is gonna pull off here. Gonna get set to go green flag, and we are green. Flagman throwing that green flag out. Ooh, Christopher Burge gets an amazing restart. Look at that. He's looking on the outside of Zimmer. Travis Zudema did not get going well at all, but either way, Kyle Zimmer is going to hold the lead through 1 and 2. Doug McCollum up to third. We have a caution on the racetrack somewhere.
Yeah, trying to find where the caution is. Oh, Johnny Berardi on the backstretch. The number 99 has looped it around. Have to go back and see what happened here. Maybe a little bit of a nudge. They were side by side, too wide coming off the corner. Maybe a little bit of contact there with the number 3.
Yeah, it looks like he just got kind of loose with that car on this outside, and that was all she wrote for him. But he's going to get it going again and get back, fix his car fixed and going again.
Yeah, and that's one thing that can happen here at Bristol Motor Speedway. You see it here on the replay. The number 3 kind of appears to come down because you want to kind of straighten your exit up off the corner, and the number 99 down there on the bottom, it can get really tight because you're running such a tight radius down there. It kind of gets the car tight, and you can just all of a sudden have it coming together up off the corner. That's a pretty common thing here at a track like this. Actually, at most short tracks, that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, and don't think your eyes are deceiving you. That is the 98 Chris Burge leading this race. Kyle Zimmer actually electing to come down pit road and take some tires and fuel under that caution. So interesting to see that being played. But really, I wouldn't play into that strategy because you only had one lap on that run. But we have seen that tires do matter here. So I know Kyle knows what he's doing. He is a champion in the truck series. So. We'll see if he can come through the field pretty quickly like Tanner did earlier.
Absolutely. Well, we're still working here under caution, and we're on lap number 29 as they head down the backstretch once again. Doug McCollum's worked his way now up into the second position, electing to stay out. Billy Wise third, and here comes AJ Digby once more. He's up to fourth with the different pit strategies playing out. And Cameron, it's going to be really hard for us up here in the booth to kind of keep all these strategies straight, because all of a sudden it just seems like there's about 3 or 4 different strategies out there right now.
Yeah, really, it's hard enough to keep track of the cars just because of how this racetrack is. You start getting them strung out, and the cars just kind of they kind of blend together, just going around the track so quickly. So add strategies up in there and give us some numbers and stuff. We already know we don't know numbers up here in the booth. We've established that over the last few weeks. So definitely we're going to have some work cut out for us.
Yeah, well, that's how we make the big bucks, thanks to Carlos Costa. Each and every week here on 3 Wide TV. But I want to give you a shout out in the chat. We got Max Calder out there, Kevin Cochran checking in. Kevin Cochran, he was in the Truck Series battle for the championship just the other night. Wasn't quite able to get that championship, but good to see him in the chat here tonight. Chuck Sweeting saying hello everyone, so how's it going, Chuck? But definitely should be a lot of fun here as the pace car lights have turned off once again, and it will be the number 98, Christopher Burge. And you know, Cameron, I noticed one thing with Kyle Zimmer and even the number 3 Tanner Sharp and even AJ Digby. It looks like there was some wheel spin under the last few restarts, and that almost tripped up Zimmer under his last restart, so we'll have to keep an eye on that once we go back to green here in just a few seconds.
Yeah, the pace car is actually going back to green, but the track is actually getting hotter a little bit, so we're going to have to see how that happens. Christopher Burge, ooh, like you said, Peter, right there. Everybody has wheel spin. Christopher Burge on the apron. Doug McCollum shoots out to about a 10-car length lead right now. It's like the mid part of the pack really did not get going at all, and they're still kind of stacking up into turn 3 there. See Doug McCollum there, AJ Digby up to second. But definitely, as you were saying, Peter, wheel spin looks like that tripped up everyone.
Yeah, and this track won't get any more grippy because it is only 2:36 in game, 2:36 in the afternoon. So as the sun continues to beat down on this racetrack, that track temperature will
contact!
probably could. Oh, the number 24 Lesniewski, the number 17 Fernando Matos, contact 24. What a
Saved
save! Then they might still be bumping back there. Oh, he's going around. That could be the longest caution flag, or the longest accident I think I've ever seen here at Bristol, but no caution because he's down on the apron. Doug McCollum here coming up behind him. Doug McCollum, your race leader, the number 33 Epilepsy Sucks Chevrolet. Coming up on the back of Lesniewski, we go a little bit further back in the pack. Here's Catilla and the 13 of Capers. They're battling it out. That's for the 5th position on the racetrack. Catilla, oh man, they get really tight coming out of turn number 2. But they stay off of each other, and my oh my, Cameron, a lot of action around this racetrack. There's more contact, 13 in the wall, 4 in the wall. Still bouncing off of each other. We still stay green. Oh, look at,
And
25.
Zimmer has problems too.
Kyle Zimmer went to the apron. He shortcutted the course, but unfortunately wasn't able to gain too much time, but definitely was able to keep that number 25 clean, which is at least good at this present moment in time. But my goodness, action all over this track.
Yeah, we see Zimmer working on the outside of Burge right there. Looks like he's going to get the run. He has that preferred groove, going to take the position easily. So move him up to the, I believe that's the 7th spot, right behind the 4 of Nate Cadilla, who was in the wall just a minute ago, but looks like his car is still pretty good. So, yeah, like you said, a lot of action around this track. Looks like these guys aren't too afraid of beating and banging, so good to see that. Good short track racing here tonight. Oh, contact! That's Capers in the wall, hard in the front stretch, and he's going to bounce right up to the outside wall again. Not sure what happened there, but I did see that car go all sorts of out of control there. You have to see what happens in the replay. Looks like he might have got in the wall, but a little bit of contact there with the 9 of Tim Masters. Car went
he might have
pirouetting away.
He might have gotten a little bit tight up off the corner, had to check up. Maybe Tim wasn't able to check up in time. Not quite sure what happened there, because there looked to be a decent separation here through the center of the corner. And I think the 13 just drove it in so hard he had to check up for his exit, and when he did so, Tim Masters just was able to get into that rear end of that machine and spin him around. But most of your leaders are on pit road. The number 14, though, AJ Digby, stays out. The 3 of Tanner Sharp does lead down the drivers who did decide to come down and pit. Tanner Sharp still not electing to use that fast repair. Probably be closer to halfway before Tanner decides to take his first one of this race. But keeping an eye on the cars out there, I think we should see maybe Johnny Berardi as the lucky dog. We'll have to keep an eye, make sure that is true. We'll see what happened here. No, it looks like, yeah, I think it is Berardi, your lucky dog.
Yeah, and definitely some more strategy being played there. AJ Digby still staying out there on his a little bit older tires. Kind of decide that track position is more important than those tires, but definitely working for him because he was pretty quick on that last run. Was able to get the lead and hold it for a little bit, but it's definitely interesting to see how this race is playing out. The track is still getting hotter by the minute or so. It's up to 108, so those tires definitely going to start coming into a premium here pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be the largest lap delta we have seen on tires tonight between older tires and fresh tires. So it will definitely be interesting to see what Digby can do, especially with the wheel spin we've been seeing on these restarts. I mean, they look extremely treacherous to get these cars going from second gear up through the gears. So if I'm AJ Digby, I'm really going to have to feather this restart. And you and I know if you have to feather the restart just a little bit on the restart and a couple of others around you do not, you can basically be a sitting duck on a restart. So hopefully Digby has that in mind, and hopefully he's got a game plan to get rolling once this pace car finally turns off.
Absolutely, and this track does remind me a little bit of a smaller version of a track I love to race on, which would be the Dover Speedway. And
how did I know you were going to say that?
Yeah, Dover's probably my favorite track to race on. Just a big version of Bristol, or maybe this is a small version of Dover. But you get the wheel spin there a lot, and it's pretty treacherous on the restarts. But we'll see what these guys can do. They're doubling up for this next coming restart, and see what they can keep it straight on this one.
So, just to reset the field for you, AJ Digby, 24 laps on his tires once we go back to green. Tim Masters, 16 laps on his tires. And then you have Tanner Sharp, Doug McCollum, and Travis Zudema, all on fresh tires. That's your top 5 as we're getting set to go back to green flag racing here at Thunder Valley. Pace car dives down. AJ Digby's going to get onto the gas. A little bit of wheel spin from that number 14. Here comes Tanner Sharp. Tanner was definitely able to get that power down a little bit better than Digby as they go off through that corner. I thought that number 14 was going to push up into the number 9 on exit, but not the case.
In the wall, McCollum.
Oh, Doug McCollum. Oh, contact of the front Tim Masters. The number 3 cars are going everywhere to avoid. The 56 is around. The number 32, Billy Wise, is around. And Zudema, I think Zudema got to the inside wall there, but that all happened up at the front. The number 3 and the number 9 getting together, and the field had to avoid. And, oh man, look at Zudema take that hard hit with the inside wall. 56, Tom Johnson, hard in the outside wall.
Yeah, that was all started when Masters got to the wall, but it bounced down into the 3 of Sharp, and really just nothing either of these drivers can do. You kind of saw it start stacking up right about here on your screen right now, and just kind of, yeah, look at that hard hit on the inside wall, just nowhere to go. Tom Johnson gets turned from the behind because they're checking up, but really just a stack up on the restart there.
Yeah, I mean, Bristol's has such tight confines. If you're a driver and you're tucked up behind the back end of another driver, it can be really hard to see a wreck happen in front of you. In fact, that's happened to me before. I mean, even if it's a half straightaway or even a full straightaway ahead of you, it's so tricky to see here because A, there's a lot of banking. B, as a driver, you're fairly constricted with what you can and can't see because you've got the windshield there, you got your pillar to the left side in your field of view, and because of the radius of this track, sometimes that pillar just to the left side of the driver blocks your vision, and you just can't see what's happening in front of you. So that might have been what happened there with Tom Johnson getting turned around. Either the car in front blocking the view, driver couldn't quite see what was happening, or the pillar getting in the way, something like that. But I've noticed that at Bristol more than other racetracks that I've been to, that happens. And I think it's just a nature of this track being such a small, high-banked circuit.
Yeah, I've always said that really the higher the banking of the racetrack, the harder it is to see ahead of. We could get like a gyro cam on one of the cars further back in the pack. It would really show the viewers just kind of what you see. Yeah, you see right here, when you're going around the track in 15 seconds, you really just can't see around anything in front of you and in the cockpit view. So definitely, this banking and the just the way this track is, it really makes it hard to see around anything. It really makes it hard to see really your line at all. So that's just why this track is what it is. Just very hard to race, and you kind of get that tunnel vision because it's just so hard to see anything, and that's why the wrecks can be so treacherous here.
Yeah, and if we can just go back to that view one more time, just to get an indication of what I want the viewers to see here on the gyro cam for just a moment. Let's see if we can dial that one up one more time. There we go. So you see Tom Johnson, he's going around the corner, and you just see him going around all these cars. And, excuse me, that's Matthew Lesniewski. Excuse me, you can see just in front of you, try watching the leader as you go around this track. All of a sudden, the leader's gone. And we're doubling up here for a restart, but the leader just disappears. Like you can't even see the leader, and he's only 10 cars in front of you. So if something happens, and things do happen fast here at Bristol Motor Speedway, it can be really hard to react if that happens. But pace car lights are off, getting set to go back to green flag racing here. Hopefully we can get a decent run in. AJ Digby, older tires versus Tanner Sharp's relatively new tires. Digby gets a really good start this time. I think he's learned from that previous restart on what to do. He's going to get a good jump out front. Tanner Sharp's going to hold tough on the inside. Sharp's going to swing down to the inside. Ooh. Sharp gets loose on entry, slides up, almost hits the 14. That's going to open the door for Kyle Zimmer on the high side. They're side by side now for the second place.
Man, he drove it in that corner. Just did not have the grip to hold it, but that was an impressive move. But either way, it's going to cost him the second spot to Zimmer. Might cost him third to the Capers as well. Capers running that high side, almost hitting the wall. He's going to get a good run off here of turn number 4, but not able to do anything with it. Here comes Chris Roberge on the inside line of Capers. We'll see if he can make the move. I think he might have it here in the turn 3, but definitely a lot of action around this track right now.
Yeah, Chris Roberge, one of those drivers who has about 14 laps on his tires. AJ Digby, your race leader, has 34 laps on his tires. So 20 laps fresher tires are on second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth place. And here comes Kyle Zimmer. He's closing in on the back bumper of the number 14 of AJ Digby, ever so slowly through lap after lap. And look at Alan Capers, good run for him in the 5th position. Roberge now trying to challenge on Tanner Sharp here. That'd be a battle for the 3rd position. There you see that bright yellow number 3 machine. Oh, number 14, AJ Digby, pancaking the wall there through the center of the corner. Cameron, sometimes that can help your car turn. So pretty much no harm, no foul just yet on that number 14 machine.
Yeah, that's something you can do a few times. You just don't want to do it too much, then you'll just start banging up your car. But I just want to kind of notice, like, look at the different lines they're running. Zimmer running about the middle lowish to that low line, and AJ Digby running there right next to the wall, actually hitting it every now and again. So really cool to see these two lines working. That bit back behind them, we see it looks like Tanner Sharp is running the high side in 1 and 2 and running a little bit lower in 3 and 4. So definitely different philosophy. Actually, now he runs higher in 3 and 4 as I say that. So Tanner, you are listening to the broadcast. Bad on you for doing that.
Well,
but really cool to see that.
One thing I do want to notice, or do want to note, as Kyle Zimmer has caught AJ Digby, but there is a small little strip of shade right at the top of turn number 3 and 4, and that's what the number 14 of AJ Digby has been looking for in 3 and 4. You'll see it as he goes up really high here as he tries to hold off the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer. He was able to get into that little strip where the track is now in shade. That's going to help cool off the racetrack, and Digby's able to hold on to the lead here on lap number 63.
And for Zimmer, it's going to be really hard to make that pass because Digby is in that preferred groove. He is running that shaded line, kind of a dirt track thing to do there. You kind of search for the grip, search for the cooler track. So really cool to see that. He's kind of throwing sparks up every now and again, just trying to show Kyle Zimmer that he is the leader. Right there, you see some sparks being thrown out from the right side of that car, but Zimmer is saying, I don't care about that. He's going to come up to the inside, see if he can make that move in turn 1 and 2. He's going to have to have his work cut out for him because he does not have the banking at his disposal right there. And Tanner Sharp looking to get in that fight as well. But either way, good racing here at Bristol so far.
Yeah, Tanner Sharp has now pulled level with the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer down the front stretch. They kind of fan out going down the through turns number 1 and 2. Zimmer able to stay ahead for now. Chris Roberge in the 4th position. He's dropped about half a second behind Tanner Sharp, and then it's about a second back to Alan Capers, who currently resides in the 5th position. Nate Catilla 6th, about a 6/10 of a second off of him. Matos another 1.4 seconds back. Tom Johnson 8th, Lesniewski 9th, Zudema in 10th. But this battle for the race lead continues to rage on. Zimmer still just trying to get that lead, Cameron. And I think if he was able to get ahead, I think he would be able to pull away with those 20-lap fresher tires, but he's just not able to find that run around the 14.
Yeah, definitely. I think Zimmer is a little bit quicker at this stage in the race, but either way, Digby is doing a good job just kind of positioning his car where Zimmer does not need it to be. He's running that higher line, getting the good runs off and all that. It's kind of a, really, this is a rematch of what we saw at Homestead in the trucks. If you were to have Dave Wilson in that battle as well, because we saw these drivers 3 wide at the finish of the Digby in the wall, so that's going to give the lead to Zimmer right there, and he's going to be under fire from Tanner Sharp for a second. Ooh, that was close through 1 and 2 right there, almost contact, but just a little bit of a mistake there gave Zimmer the lead, and I think he will be able to pull away from Digby right now.
Well, Digby's not backing down just yet. I mean, Digby did catch the wall, but he was able to close in just a little bit on Kyle Zimmer in 3 and 4 that last time by. You see Digby running just a little bit higher on the racetrack, a little bit closer to that shaded line. And I think that's where he's finding the grip up there as they catch up to the back of Johnny Berardi in the number 9. Now contact! Berardi
in the wall.
Digby, and Digby got into the outside wall. That's going to allow the number 3 of Tanner Sharp to move up into the 2nd position. Digby getting into the back of that number 99 machine. That's going to drop him down to 3rd as we have a caution on the racetrack. Ooh, it's the number 13, Alan Capers, has gone around. We'll have to see what happened here on the 3-wide TV replay with what happened with Alan Capers in the number 13. It looks like he's coming off the corner, caught that outside wall, loosened up that car. Kind of a weight shift accident. As soon as that weight shifts when you hit that wall, you really can't do anything with it. It's out of control at that point. And unfortunately that brings out the yellow. But that was our longest green flag run of the night. Kyle Zimmer able to take the lead there. As now I expect to see most of your leaders on pit road to get 4 fresh tires. I don't think Digby's going to stay out again. I think his old tires have just about had enough, as the field is now led by Kyle Zimmer down pit road.
Yeah, we'll see if these drivers take their fast repairs. I think Digby did, probably. Tanner looks like his car is new as well, so definitely we're getting close to halfway, about 25 laps or so away. Looks like there's Kyle Zimmer getting away, going to be followed by Tanner Sharp and Digby, so going to come off of pit road as they came on, and there's reversion forward. So everything kind of holding station for the moment so far.
Yeah, it looks like Fernando Matos, Travis Udema, those drivers were able to gain a few spots on pit road. Still looking for Nate Catilla in the number 4. He was 5th place not too long ago. At least he was scored in the 5th place. Came down pit road and had a really long stop in the number 4 machine. Dropped way back in the field, but he's still got plenty of time to work his way through the field because we still have over 123 laps to go, 124 to be exact. There was another driver I wanted to look at once again here. That's Tim Masters in the number 9. We saw some great speed out of Tim Masters earlier in this race. He did make it down pit road, was able to make it to his pit box, and finally was able to get service. And then as soon as the car came off the jacks. I'm not quite sure if it was in neutral or maybe he stalled, or of course iRacing now does have the ability to stall these vehicles, and it seemed like that number 9 just rolled backwards on pit road. So maybe Masters stalled it there briefly, lost a lot of spots, but definitely still out there rolling. In fact, he's back on pit road as we speak. Maybe getting a little bit of damage repaired on the number 9 Wrangler Chevrolet. The pace car lights are still on.
Yeah, and this will be an interesting restart because I believe this is going to be the first restart and since the start of the race, really, where everybody has been on equal tires at the front, at least. So going to be interesting to see if how this will change things up. Pace car lights are going off, going to double up for this restart. Kyle Zimmer going to be your leader, Tanner Sharp, Digby, and Roberge your top 4. Definitely going to be interesting to see if one of those drivers behind that top 4 can make a move. Zudema, Matos, Tom Johnson can do something about it.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that front row. I mean, definitely Zimmer and Sharp. They started 1-2 in reverse, or excuse me, they didn't quite start 1-2. It was Sharp and Digby on the front row, but now it is Zimmer and Sharp on the front row. Green flag back in the air. Tanner Sharp did a great restart. Kyle Zimmer caught a little bit sleeping. He's going to be on the inside. Tanner Sharp to the outside. That moved Tanner Sharp back to the point as number 3 has taken the lead here at Digby. Going to see if he can try and take second place away, but Zimmer's going to close the door, and we get pretty much single file here at Bristol.
Yeah, Digby and Roberge still going at it. I believe that will go to Digby, so he does actually pull a bit away from Roberge. There's some damage on the front of Zimmer's car. I'm not sure where that came from, but it looks like it's definitely not going to be affecting him too much. Working out the back of Tanner Sharp's machine right now. He's running right next to that wall, so close. You couldn't fit a piece of paper in between that wall and his race car, but kind of strung out here right now. Your first battle for position looks like it's about for the 6th position. Alan Caper's going to make the move around Fernando Matos. He's going to kind of just drive into the wall, throw some sparks out, but no harm, no foul. Going to go ahead and drive away from him.
Doug McCollum in the number 33. We've seen pace out of him tonight. He's back in the 8th position, started in the 3rd position, trying to work his way back forward as he clips the wall just a little bit. He's going to close right in on the back bumper of Fernando Matos here as we close in on the halfway mark here at the Bristol 200 here in the SimPossible B Car Series. Here comes Doug McCollum to the outside of Fernando Matos. Now we have a caution.
Not sure what happened on the racetrack, but it looks like...
I do see Billy Wise going slow. So
Yeah,
we'll have to see if Billy Wise... Ooh, Billy Wise was involved. Let's just see this in the 3-white TV replay. Tim Masters to his outside, just coming together off the corner. And then in the end, a little bit of net code finished him off. But he did kind of a 360 and kept it rolling. So pretty good save there by Billy Wise.
Yeah, that was just kind of nowhere to go. Pushed up a bit off the corner because he was on the bottom side, but really no harm, no foul. They all get going again, so go ahead and fix their cars and keep it going. Looks like none of the top drivers electing to pit. I believe the first one, that looks like Doug McCollum, Tom Johnson coming out down with him to get some fresh tires.
Yeah, a little bit of a different strategy call there by Doug McCollum to come down. He was running in the 9th position. Tim Masters is going to come down and get a fast repair done, as does Billy Wise. So those two cars will be back to 100%. Brian Lowhead rolling on pit road. Haven't really talked about Brian Lowhead here tonight. He's kind of been near the back of the pack for most of the race, started shotgun on the field. He is currently running in the 13th position. Johnny Berardi in the number 99 will take the wave around, get back to the lead lap. Good to see all 15 cars currently running and on the lead lap here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and we are about 12 laps from halfway right now, so when we are going green, it does go by pretty quick. Having a bit of caution so far, but either way, having some good racing here at the front and throughout the field, so pretty cool to see that. But have a long way to go still yet, though. over halfway, and going to be interesting to see how this race does play out, because it does. I don't really see a definite front runner so far right now, so it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do to go out there and try to capture the lead.
Yeah, let's just see here real fast. Space car lights are still on. Let's see if we can dial up Tanner Sharp. I want to ask him a few questions about how these cars are driving. Of course, I can't quite move him. Here we go. Hey, Tanner Sharp, Peter Short here in the 3Y TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. It seems like these restarts have been pretty treacherous with wheel spin. We've seen it out of a few drivers here tonight. You have a few laps on your tires. How are you going to manage to wheel spin under this restart?
Just gotta know how much throttle you're gonna put into the car when you get on the restart, and we seem to master that so far. We've seen AJ Digby, spin out, or I shouldn't say spin out, but spin out his tires a little bit on the restarts. But yeah, just gotta manage it as much best we can here, and that's what we're gonna do. And we got the one to go.
All right, well, Tanner, thank you for stopping by. You got the one to go. We'll let you get back to the action, but good luck out there.
Thank you.
All right, well, that is your race leader, Tanner Sharp. And Cameron, it has been pretty tricky. We'll hopefully get to see everyone roll off here nice and smoothly. The track temperature currently sitting at 105 degrees, so it has cooled off just a little bit under this caution flag. Excuse me, but we will be back to action here, and the track temperature will go up once all these cars are out there laying down rubber.
Absolutely, and see the pace car making that hard left on pit road, actually putting some tire tracks down, but ooh, bad restart for Tanner. Kyle Zimmer actually gets a good launch off the line. We'll see if he can hold it through 1 and 2. He's right there on the side of Tanner Sharp. Oh my God, there was some really bad contact, or not really bad, but really big contact there. Almost contact there with Sharp and Roberge as well. So kind of a messy restart on there, but either way, Kyle Zimmer, the big winner there. He comes out to the lead by a few car lengths over Sharp. Roberge up to third. It's like that's Digby under fire from Zudema for the 4th spot. Ooh, he's in the wall hard.
Oh,
Digby in the wall hard, but we have a caution on the racetrack. Looks like that.
Catilla's around.
That was probably a product of what happened there off turn 4, that big stack up. So we'll have to wait for the replay, see what happened there.
And here is that replay, riding on board with Nate Catilla, and man, it looks like it happened in front of him. Maybe possibly 2 separate incidents there, Cameron?
Yeah, it looks just when it's something you see here a lot at Bristol. You kind of get stack ups, and you can have a incident at the front of the field, and it really kind of just accordions back towards the back a little bit. But yeah, you see, really just Catilla got in the wall there. Nothing Fernando Matos could do. That was just kind of a bad luck deal there for both drivers, because if Matos wasn't there, then Catilla would have been fine. But either way, it caused a caution. But looks like none of the front runners electing to pit. First had Johnson, Zudema, and those 2 drivers involved in the caution coming down to pit. So not enough of a run to have any of these front runners do anything down pit road just yet. But either way, Kyle Zimmer, the big winner on that restart. He got the lead from Tanner Sharp, not really able to go just like him. But really, we kind of heard Tanner talking about that he really needs to just kind of control that restart with the throttle, and maybe he might have done it just a little too much, Peter. Maybe not going enough, maybe not really pushing the throttle enough on the restart. Kind of got caught out by Kyle Zimmer there.
Yeah, I'm really curious because, we see some leagues, they have lane choice for the leader. Does the leader want to go on the inside line or the outside line? But we've seen 2 consecutive restarts where the outside line has prevailed on the restart. Tanner Sharp getting the lead that way, and now Kyle Zimmer getting the lead on the outside. So it'll be an interesting choice to see. I'm not 100% sure with the rules here in SimPossible whether or not there is lane choice. I'm sure we'll see at some point during this race, but Tanner Sharp definitely will use that outside to his advantage here, like he did 2 restarts ago, if and when that opportunity arises.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the default line on the restart is the bottom side, but the top side is really where you want to be on the restart. So it really makes these restarts interesting, as we see Alan Capers there taking the cone again. So I'm not sure what our cone counter is for the race so far, but it's definitely probably in the, I would have to say, probably 30s so far, because we've seen him take the cone out in the every caution so far, twice, and a couple times multiple cones.
Yeah, I was gonna say he got the twofer at one point, grabbing the blue and yellow cones. So, you know, getting that yellow cone, man, you have to be flirting with those yellow barrels at the end of pit road to actually go out and nail that one. So
Yeah.
props to him for getting it.
Have you seen how close he's gotten to those barrels a couple times? So he's definitely playing with fire there, but either way, it's kind of cool to see. So, Alan Capers, if you're watching the broadcast or you watch later, keep doing what you're doing, because it's kind of funny, and we enjoy watching it up here in the booth. But either way, these guys enjoying doing what they're doing. They're doubled up for this restart, ready to go back going again. It's good to see these cautions be so short. It's a short racetrack, and you know, really not a lot of caution at all. But we're going to be getting going here. Green in just a moment. The pace car is pulling off onto the pit road right now. Green flag is holding that green flag, or the flag man is holding the green flag, and Tanner Sharp doing exactly the opposite of what he did last time, getting a pretty good restart. He's going to hold the lead around the outside of turns 1 and 2. Here comes Alan Capers for third place around Reverge. Actually going to get up in that wall and see if he can do something with it. Ooh, contact! Contact! Reverge and Capers. Reverge in the wall hard.
Yeah, Reverge really hit the inside wall hard and went for a spin. That's going to get us to the halfway mark with your race leader, Tanner Sharp. There's no bonus points or anything like that here in the B-Car Series, but definitely hard contact there. We go back and watch this replay. Just coming out of the corner, that's what we've seen, I'd say probably 4 or 5 times tonight, where the outside wall just nails a driver, and that driver then comes down the racetrack, loses control. And Cameron, that's becoming a pretty common sight.
Yeah, that's kind of the caution we've seen most here. It looks like there was a little bit of netcode there before the wreck even happened, because I saw the 98 kind of move like he was had some contact before that happened. But either way, that second contact is really what did it in for him. And you saw Tom Johnson get involved as well. Pretty hard hit for him, so he's going to come down pit road and get that car all fixed up. A lot of front-end damage to that machine. But either way, it looks like, I'm not sure what the preferred groove on the restart is. We were kind of just talking about how the outside line is the preferred groove, and it really looks like it matters who gets the better restart, because that bottom line is really, really good on the restart if the leader gets going really well. But we've seen the outside line get going better for the past few restarts, so the track might be changing a bit too, so you know, we don't know yet.
Yeah, definitely pretty interesting, and if you're watching this race unfold, you'll see that in turns number 3 and 4, there is a line of shade right up there at the top of the track. Well, that line of shade is slowly but surely creeping down the racetrack as we are now reaching about the 1 hour mark. That's in turn number 3, and you can see this line now start to form all the way around the outside of turn number 2 as well, down the back stretch. So as the sun continues to set here, that dark line, the shaded line, will continue to grow, and that will change the characteristics of how these cars are driving. So definitely got to keep that in mind, Cameron, because if the track changes a little bit, I'm sure we'll start to see these driving styles change accordingly. But we're just over halfway here in this one.
Yeah, and really, you know, a lot of times we talk about the sun and all that changing the track, but really the biggest thing about this track changing is just the cars running on it itself, because the cars, they do put down that rubber, and that rubber is hot and sticky, and that is you know, that's when you get those long green runs, the long green flag runs, excuse me, that's when you see the cars start moving around a lot and running that low line right next to the apron, and really changes the track. So I think we've seen a little bit, not enough green running yet to really change the track a whole lot, but definitely a little bit that we might have already seen.
I want to give you a brief update on driver of the number 4, Nate Catilla. He actually had a little bit of a connection issue, a connection bobble just a few laps ago as Alan Capers takes out both cones once again, just out of view here. But Catilla is currently scored 4 laps down. Alan Capers is the only other driver who is 1 lap down. But Nate Catilla is going to have to get a little bit of luck here to get back on the lead lap as pace car lights are off. Always a tough break, Cameron, if you get a little bit of a connection bobble and you end up dropping out of the server. He is lucky to have only lost 4 laps though, because laps go by pretty quickly here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, they certainly do, and so do the restarts. The restart has come upon us really quickly, and the green flag is out. Catilla gets a good restart on the outside line. Here comes Billy Wise for 3rd place. He gets a great restart around Tim Masters, but Tanner Sharp able to hold that lead around Zimmer. Here comes Zimmer on the inside line. He's going to look for the lead. Not able to do anything with it though. Going to pull in behind Tanner Sharp a little bit, and actually Billy Wise looking very strong right now on that. In that 3rd spot. Gets a little bit loose off turn number 2, but there's a battle for the 4th spot. That's Zudema, and I believe that was Tim Masters. Ooh, contact! As I was saying, commentator's curse has struck again. Billy, I am so sorry. Looks like he had some trouble off turn 4 in the wall hard, and that motor is smoking, spraying for mosquitoes right now. I'm not sure what happened. We'll see it here on the replay. Looks like he might have just got a little bit too high out of the groove, and yep, like we've seen all night, Peter, just getting in that wall, and around she went.
I'm sure Billy Wise is saying, "Shut up, Aaron, shut up." But yeah, as our man in the truck, Carlos Acosta, saying, "Yep, don't we all wish Cameron would shut up?" But anyway. Caution flag.
I'll just go ahead
back
and leave
in
the broadcast here real quick. Go get me a hot dog and everything.
Yeah, go grab a hot dog. It was Dollar Dog Night here at the Texas Ranger Stadium in Arlington, not too far away from me. I had a friend of mine go into the game tonight. I was a little bit jealous. Love going to the ballpark on Dollar Dog Night. Speaking of hot dogs. But unfortunately, it's not Dollar Dog Night here at Bristol Motor Speedway on 3-Wide TV. I wish it was, but it's not, so oh well.
Yeah, and it's not Martinsville Speedway either, where they have the famous, the hot dogs that, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Martinsville, but we're not sure if they're real meat, but either way, they're still good and they're cheap, so, you fill up on them and feel horrible about yourself after the fact.
It's Dollar Hot Dog Night, woohoo!
And
that all checks are made payable to me, and you will not get your hot dog.
Carlos with the hookups there, with the little hot dog reference there on the broadcast. You guys, we hope you like that. We like that. And I want a hot dog now, even though I just got done eating dinner just a few hours ago, and might go ahead and do that because I can.
Well, I'm just surprised that's the first time we've seen something on the screen, because for those of you watching, Carlos Acosta, the man in the truck doing all these awesome camera views, he is a massive Miami fan in the MLB. And last season, he had his kazoo ready for when Miami would win. And I'm surprised we don't have a ticker at the bottom of the screen with the live score. That's how fanatic Carlos Acosta is with his score. In fact, Tanner Sharp there, your race leader, he's been broadcasting here on 3-Wide TV for a little bit. He has seen and heard the Miami Marlins score here quite a bit. So,
and I was going to go ahead and say that that kazoo was not played a whole lot last year, and I'm not sure why I'm getting the pink slip from Carlos over here, but either way.
Oh, so that's the reason why we're not seeing it, as the Marlins are losing. But we can turn 3-Wide V into a pseudo ESPN or something. So.
And the Golden State Warriors are doing something. They're playing basketball. We don't actually know about that, but actually that would be Miami Heat. Well, we're talking about things that we don't know anything about. These drivers have doubled up. They're ready to go. They know what they're doing. So either way, good thing they do, because we don't. Going to be going back here, racing here in just a moment.
Yeah, we're basically talking like baseball commentators up here. I mean, baseball commentators, they didn't even really talk about what's going on the field. But I think we're a little bit better than that, because we're going to talk about the racing, and pace car has dived down. The race is in the hands of Tanner Sharp. He's hard on the loud pedal. Good restart by the 25 for Kyle Zimmer. And Tanner Sharp's going to use that low line, just clears that number 25 machine coming out of the corner. Almost got into the outside wall. Tanner Sharp going to use that high line now to try and fend off that number 25 machine. Travis Zudema in the third position. Just as I say that, he blinks off the screen, but there he is, reappearing once and disappearing. Maybe I should just shut up about him. Before the commentators, first strikes again, Tim Masters and Doug McCollum. They're side by side. That's a battle for the fourth position. They're really tight coming off the corner, a little bit of beating and banging down the front stretch. And Doug McCollum is going to take that fourth position, at least for now. No, here comes Tim Masters back around the outside. I think McCollum's going to clear him here through turns number 3 and 4. Does do so. And now Chris Roberge and Tim Masters are side by side into turn number 1 and 2. And Cameron Joe,
contact
between Roberge and Masters. Caution back in the air.
Yeah, I was about to say that Tim Masters is running that, what I would call an extremely high diamond line. He backs off very early into the corner and gets a super run through the middle, but it allows him to get cars kind of into his inside on the entry of the corner, and you kind of just saw Roberge get the inside there. Masters got that extremely good run off. Ooh, that's a hard hit. That's Brian Lowhead there. Nowhere to go for him, and that's right in the door, but either way, both of them keep going. But we see some shade over the track right now. The track is completely shaded, so as we were talking about that, grip is definitely going to be changing for these drivers on this next restart.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, it was just a small cloud. The sun is still over about half the racetrack, and it'll be interesting to see, though, what that does do to the track temperature. Track has cooled down currently to 101 degrees Fahrenheit. That was down from about 109 degrees Fahrenheit earlier. So track definitely cooling off just a little bit. Ambient temperature at 78 degrees. Not very many takers on pit road. One of those drivers who did decide to come down was Tom Johnson in the number 56. But track now mostly back in the sun, as some of the drivers who did come down pit road are still back out there onto the race circuit. Brian Lowhead's brought his number 66 machine to pit road. Now you see the race summary here as the leaders now work lap number 120 of 281 laps to go. Tanner Sharp, the race leader.
Working our 12th caution, if I see that correctly. So, it's not been the most green race so far, but that's what you get at a track like Bristol. You kind of expect cautions to happen, and definitely the saying in racing is that cautions breed cautions. So you kind of get in that cycle of you get cautions, and then you get more cautions, and then Cameron starts talking about cautions, and I'm talking about cautions right now. So we're under caution.
Yeah, and I don't really know how cautions breed. I don't really want to know, but it is an interesting saying, cautions breed cautions.
That is a question for science class that we'll have to go ahead and answer or ask in a little bit.
I don't think I even want to ask that in science class. I think I'd have people look at me funny, but nonetheless, things you think about as while you're commentating races here on 3 White TV.
Just be me. People look at you funny already, and then you can just, kind of cement the fact that, hey, the reason you're looking at me funny is because I ask why cautions, or how cautions breed.
Oh, well, it is one of those things, and base car lights are still on here. We're getting the 1-2 green, though, so the 1-to-go signal in the air. Base car lights are off. Tanner Sharp, Kyle Zimmer, Travis Zudema really having a good run here tonight in that number 90 machine. Great to see him up near the front. Doug McCollum sits 4th, AJ Digby 5th, and Cameron, I feel like from about the 3rd position on back for about the last 30 or so laps, it felt like a kind of a conveyor belt. Just seems like all of a sudden names are coming and going.
Yeah, and really these restarts are making a huge difference. Really, see people getting in trouble and all that stuff. Pace car is off again, field in the hands of Tanner Sharp. Ooh, Tanner actually gets a bit of a jump, actually holds himself back a bit. That's going to give Kyle Zimmer the opportunity to take the lead around 1 and 2. It looks like if he can keep the momentum off, Tanner Sharp almost actually gets into the left rear corner of Zimmer, but I believe they did not make contact. Here comes Doug McCollum around the outside of Travis Zuma. He's going to take that spot, running that high side. Here comes Tanner Sharp again. Ooh, very close there through 1 and 2, but no contact. Good, clean racing right there, but that gives Doug McCollum the opportunity to look on Tanner Sharp through 3 and 4. He's going to look on the low side, a little bit of looseness there off of turn 4 for McCollum, but they keep it going straight.
Yeah, really impressive there to see Zimmer get that run around the outside and get that lead. Tanner Sharp with the definition is, oh, we got a car in the wall on the front stretch. Trying to see who that was. I think it might have been the 99 of Berardi, possibly maybe the 32 Billy Wise there. It looked like some car caught the outside wall. I thought he might go around for a spin, but it looks like everyone keeps it nice and clean and green.
Trouble.
Billy Wise. And I went back and did check the replay. It was Billy Wise that caught the outside wall a lap before as well. So Billy Wise has caught the outside wall 2 laps in a row. So maybe he has a little bit of suspension damage. Not quite sure. But Billy Wise going to avoid the outside wall this lap. So I'm sure he's just going to try and ride in that number 32 machine, try and keep it off the wall. As up at the front, AJ Digby's now worked his way into the 3rd position. Ryan Lowhead, he's off the pace. A little bit of contact down the backstretch. A little bit of a bump draft by Tanner Sharp. That's not something you say every day here at Bristol Motor Speedway. That's exactly what Tanner Sharp did, definitely letting Kyle Zimmer know that he's there.
Yeah, that was actually it looks like Kyle Zimmer is a little bit not as strong as Tanner through 1 and 2, but Kyle pretty good through 3 and 4, running that lower line on the racetrack. And here comes Tanner Sharp. You see it from AJ Digby's view right now inside of his car. This is a very close battle for the top 3. Give a quick shout out to Dave Wilson in chat. Not in the race right now, but we hope to see you next week. Definitely like seeing you racing out here each and every week from us in the booth and out on the racetrack as well. But we have a battle here for the 2nd spot. Digby looking on at Tanner Sharp, but not able to do anything with it. You saw from Digby's in-car there for just a moment. Tanner Sharp almost getting in the wall there through 1 and 2, but keeps it off. So really, Zimmer is kind of just running there in between these 2 cars, not able to get away from Tanner. So Tanner might be a little bit quicker at this stage in the race, but he's also dealing with the 14 of Digby. And I believe that if Tanner wants to get around that 25, he's going to have to find a way around him on the low side, because Zimmer is running just high enough on the track where making it pass around him is going to be quite tough.
Yeah, and they are catching a little bit of lap traffic. That's the number 32 of Billy Wise there, just to their outside. Ooh, really tight with AJ Digby, but they stay off of one another. Just a little bit. Here comes, contact! Oh, AJ Digby's around! No, excuse me, not AJ Digby. That's Tanner Sharp around off the nose of AJ Digby, I should say. Billy Wise caught a piece of it, but Tanner Sharp sits parked on the backstretch. Finally gets that number 3 pointed around. Let's see what happens here on the 3-wide TV replay, Cameron.
Yeah, it looks like, Digby just into the back of that 3 car a little bit. Billy Wise gets into him, and just a bit of a bump there. I don't think that was anything that Digby was trying to do. Just got a little bit of a better run to the center of 1 and 2 than Tanner did, and you saw what happened there as the end result. That was such slight contact right there that really, it's probably in real life wouldn't have sent Tanner Sharp around like that.
Yeah, sometimes the joys of sim racing, isn't that right? But most of your leaders are on pit road. Chris Roberge stayed out with Fernando Matos. We'll have to see how that plays out, see if they come down here in just a little bit. Tanner Sharp finally making it to his pit box. that damaged number 3 machine. I do expect Tanner to use a fast repair. He's going to have to watch out though here because he is on pit road. The pace car is coming through turns number 3 and 4 right now. So Tanner Sharp is moving, so he will be okay. Here comes Chris Roberge, Nate Catilla, and the 24th Matthew Lesniewski on pit road. But definitely kind of interesting to see a little bit of a few strategy calls. Fernando Matos stays out there, assumes the race lead here in that number 17 machine. Kyle Zimmer currently sits second on fresh tires. Matos has 44 laps on his tires, so I expect to see Matos on pit road here this time by. I would think he maybe stayed out to lead a lap. But Zimmer, then Digby, Tim Masters back there, and then behind them we got the 56th Tom Johnson, then the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. So Sharp is going to fall back to about the 5th position with that spin on the backstretch, assuming Matos pits. No, Matos is staying out. Interesting strategy call there by the number 17 driver. And Cameron, that's a lot of laps on his tires.
Yeah, he's definitely, if he decides to actually stay out, you know, he might come down to pit road. He might come down to pit road at this time by, we don't know. But if he does decide to stay out, it's going to be really tough to get those tires hooked up on this track. Even though it is a little bit cooler than it's been, it's actually really up to 104 again, so it's going back up after the clouds went away. And it looks like he is not going to pit, so definitely going to have to make sure that he does not spin those tires, really light them up on this restart. And he's probably going to be hounded from the back by AJ Digby and everyone behind him on this restart. So going to have to look and see if there's any issues caused by that.
Well, 60 laps to go. We'll have 59 laps to go once we go back to green flag racing. Let's reset the field for you here. Fernando Matos is your race leader. First time he has led here tonight, but he is on 46 and a half lap old tires. It will be 47 once we go back to green flag racing. To his outside, Kyle Zimmer. Third, AJ Digby. Fourth, Tim Masters. Fifth, Tom Johnson. Sixth, Tanner Sharp. And let's watch Tanner Sharp see if he can cut his way back up into the top 3 after getting spun pace car off. And now onto pit road. Green flag back in the air. Oh! Fernando Matos spun the tires off the racetrack right into Kyle Zimmer. Nate Catilla's gone around near the back of the pack, but Cameron, we said he'd have to watch out for wheel spin, and it bit him there on the restart. And unfortunately for Kyle Zimmer, he had nowhere to go as you watch this on the 3-wide TV replay.
Yeah, just yeah, look how quickly that car just snapped to the right. And, really, you know, when you get that, when you get the tires just, once you get past a certain point, and really it's about heat cycles too. You get the tires hot and they get cold again, and they get hot and they get cold, and you know, there comes a point where they just stop, they kind of just give up, and Fernando's tires just gave up there. You know, the car just snapped right as soon as he tried to get going, and saw the end result of that.
Yeah, definitely tough break for Kyle Zimmer, that number 25 machine on pit road currently. Also on pit road, Doug McCollum in the number 33. So I expect to see Kyle Zimmer get a fast repair here. And that is going to give the race lead back to AJ Digby. We've seen Digby out front a couple times here tonight. I'm sure Tanner Sharp might not be too excited to see that number 14 out front after that contact that they made just a few laps ago. Tanner Sharp, in all that madness, did move up into the 5th position. So we'll see him restart on the inside of row number 3. Interesting to note that the number 17 of Fernando Matos is still out there on the circuit, but I think he's currently being scored 1 lap down.
Yeah, that's actually it's actually pretty interesting because I don't think he actually did get lapped by the leader. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and see if I can see what happened with Matos there, to see if he got lapped. It didn't. Yeah, like you said, it doesn't look like he got lapped at all. But he is a lap down. I'm trying to go back and watch his replay. This seems very strange. He got that number 17 machine pointed around, stayed out on the track, and somehow lost a lap.
Yeah,
That doesn't make any sense to me, but
very, very weird there, and it really needs to come down pit road and get tires on that car because you know they're still the tires that he was on when the wreck happened, and they're not going to be any better than they were before that.
Yeah, well, at least he knows this time that he's going to have to watch for wheel spin. Definitely keep an eye on Fernando Matos in the number 17 here. We got pace car lights still on, but they do have the 2 to green. I'm expecting to see pace car lights turn off here. And sure enough, the 1 to go signal in the air at Bristol Motor Speedway. Like I said, Bristol Motor Speedway, the world's fastest half mile, the last great Coliseum, Thunder Valley, whatever you want to call it, this place always puts on a show with a ton of action. We've seen a lot of action here tonight, and definitely it's living up to its name.
Yeah, definitely. We have seen a lot of thunder on this racetrack so far, a lot of beating and banging, and definitely going to see what we have on this restart. Again, AJ Digby and Tim Masters are going to be your front row. Pace car pulling off. You see Travis Zuma pulling right on the back bumper of AJ Digby. Tim Masters actually gets a good restart on that outside, but can't really do anything with it. He stalls out a little bit. Not sure what happened there, but he did not get going like he did initially. AJ Digby pulls out to about a car length lead over Tim Masters.
Backstretch.
Ooh, yeah, trouble on the backstretch. Billy Wise.
Yeah, number 32, Billy Wise. We see green flag racing. That number 32 still struggling to get it going. There's a ton of damage on that 32. His trouble happened, or at least it started all the way in turn number 1, and then a little bit of contact there coming out of turn number 2 led to that car spinning. Now look at number 13. Alan Capers getting really loose on the front stretch, but here comes Tanner Sharp up the front in the number 3 machine. He's going side by side. Oh, caution. We'll have to see where Tanner Sharp is placed, but Nate Catilla's gone around on the front stretch. We'll have to see what happens here on the replay. I was watching the battle for the second position, and it looks like, Lesniewski and Catilla had a little bit of a coming together, but I think Catilla was able to get that number 4 pointed in the right direction, didn't lose a lap, so that's good for Catilla. But definitely one thing about Nate is that machine is still a couple laps down, so he's still trying to get back to the lead lap, and unfortunately that's going to set him back just a little bit. Lesniewski was also the lucky dog contender, so he will lose that lucky dog because of that contact. Fernando Matos won't be getting the lucky dog this time after he fell down a lap for unknown reasons. Actually, correction, looks like Fernando Matos is getting the lucky dog here as he's being waved past the pace car. If he can make it, he's got the number 9 of Tim Masters right in front of him. There he goes, gets past Masters, and he will be back on the lead lap. So a little bit of a correction there on my part. Matthew Lesniewski now will be the only car 1 lap down. But definitely really surprising to see all this going on tonight. So it's been a really interesting race.
Yeah, we have about just under 50 laps to go, so really it's go time for this race. So I can't imagine it's going to get any less interesting from this point forward. Gonna see what these drivers do because we really haven't seen, like I said about 100 laps ago, we haven't seen a clear front runner in this race so far. It's been kind of flip-flop between a few drivers. Kyle Zimmer, Tanner, and AJ Digby kind of being the 3 that have kind of flip-flopped the lead, but we've seen all 3 of those get in trouble so far. So it's really been a crazy race at the front.
Yeah, and speaking of Kyle Zimmer, he decided to go off strategy under this caution flag. He actually came down and pitted, unlike the leaders. So Kyle Zimmer will be on fresh tires once we go back to green flag racing. Him and Tom Johnson both on fresh tires. AJ Digby and Tanner Sharp, their tires are not extremely old per se, only at 16 laps. But I think it's a good move by Zimmer to go off strategy here at this moment in the race. I think really there might only be one more pit stop for Kyle Zimmer in this race, as we are now down to 47 laps to go. I don't expect to see Kyle Zimmer hit more than once race. I just don't see it happening with how track position has seemed to be fairly important here tonight.
Yeah, it really has been. It looks like it's pretty hard to pass unless you kind of move someone out of the way, and even that's really kind of hard just the way this track is. The high line oriented a little bit, but we have seen it being able to happen. But we are going to be doubling up here real quick and getting ready for the restart. Looks like Travis Zudema he's very eager to get going. Looks like he wants to take a 3 wide under the yellow, but can't do that just yet. Have to wait till the green flag comes out here.
Absolutely. Well, the green flag is in the flagman's hand as pace car turns hard left down onto pit road, leaving a little bit of rubber there on the racetrack. Green flag back in the air. AJ Digby, that number 14, got a pretty good restart, but Tanner Sharp also just holding to his outside. Looks like Digby's going to clear that number 3 off the corner. We're 3 wide in the back of the pack. Catilla and the 25, Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer trying to go up the middle, but up at the front, here comes Zudema, trying to look underneath that number 3 machine. Not quite able to do something there. Here comes Alan Capers, the number 13, using that low line to his advantage.
Battle for the lead. Tanner Sharp took it.
Yeah, Sharp was able to get that run out of turn number 2, get that race lead. Impressive. We haven't seen many passes there on the inside tonight like that.
Yeah, and he just kind of squared up.
Oh, contact! And
but
what a save.
Yeah, he keeps it going. There was some contact there between Digby and Sharp, but both of those keep going, and Digby actually holds on to the lead, but Zudema right there looking to take it from him. See on the replay, actually not the replay yet, but see if we can get a replay on that would happen. I'm not sure what actually happened. It looked like they just kind of got together, but either way, Tanner has lost a lot of ground. He's back to about 6th spot, it looks like. So definitely probably not going to be happy with that, because we did see those 2 drivers get together just a bit earlier, so he might be a little bit hot in the car right now. Ooh, contact! Yeah. Zudema around. Turn number 4.
Got hit by Roberge, and Zudema has come to a stop here. Oh, he's coming on the racetrack into Fernando Matos.
Yeah,
that's not what Matos wanted to see.
Yeah, that's he's gonna have a bunch of damage on the front end of that machine. Zudema looks like he got in the wall, and some contact there with Alan Capers and Roberge as well. So. But
Alan Capers got the cone.
Got the cone. No, he wasn't trying there, I don't think.
But we'll add it to the count.
Definitely.
Tanner Sharp, pit road.
Yeah, I think he's got some damage on that car, and I think those tires are definitely worse. Where he takes the fast repair, so gonna go ahead and fast fix that car. Gonna pop out all the little dings and dents on it from the last, I guess, I don't know when the last time he took a fast repair. It was probably 50 or so, 60 laps ago. So get that car ready for the end. We were saying that he does like to save those fast repairs for the end of the race. So definitely, I think he has plenty to go at this stage.
Now we see the number 98, Chris Roberge, on pit road. Zudema just now headed off pit road. Kyle Zimmer is actually coming back down pit road, so he's going against what I said just a few laps ago, and that was that I didn't expect to make another pit stop. But with that being said, he was already pretty far back in the field, so I'm not all too surprised he came down pit road just due to his track position already. But it didn't seem like Kyle Zimmer was able to make a move forward. Even with those fresher tires into the last run, he was actually about half a lap off the race lead. So we'll have to keep an eye on Zimmer throughout this one. Billy Wise still trying to find his pit stall. In fact, Billy Wise is going to lose a lap here. It took him a while to get into his pit box. And he's sitting there on pit road. Nate Catilla in the 4 and Zudema both on pit road, as is Brian Lowhead in the 66. So a couple of drivers still coming down, getting damage repaired if they're out of fast repairs. We only have 37 laps to go, but you don't want to run out of fast repairs, let me tell you. Because as soon as that engine's smoking and you're out of fast repairs, your day is toast.
Yes, you are, and you can probably go ahead and put a piece of bread on that engine too if it is smoking and make some toast. Maybe I'm a little bit hungry too saying that, but either way, we're going to ignore me because getting a word from the producer that I should put a steak on the engine instead. I kind of agree with that. Steak does sound pretty good right now. But what also does sound good is getting back racing, and the pace car has agreed with me because he flipped the lights off. We're going to double up again for this restart. Like you said, about 36 laps to go here. So we're definitely getting down to the end of this race, getting down to the later stages. And these 36 laps, if we do go green, are going to go by in a hurry. So really your window for pitting is probably about done with at this point. If you've kind of made your bed with your strategy at this point, with the pace car going to make that left turn onto pit road, Flagman with the green in his hands, and he does throw it out. Alan Capers gets a good restart, as does Digby. They kind of hold station through 1 and 2. Alan Capers on that outside line, but Digby gets the good run out of turn number 2. He's going to hold the lead down the backstretch through 3 and 4. We have 3 wide. Ooh, contact with, I believe that was Berardi and Tanner. That was a very aggressive move on Tanner's part, but it looks like they all kept it straight. I'm surprised. That was a very forceful move on Tanner's part to get through the field, but he's got to do what he's got to do because he is quite a bit back on track position.
Yeah, and he restarted this restart in 7th position now, up into 5th. He's trying to work on the number 9 of Tim Masters, and he's also got the number 56 there of Tom Johnson. And Tanner's trying to go to the middle groove. Oh, contact there with Tom Johnson! And Johnson is around on the front stretch, hard in the inside wall. No caution just yet. He's going to get pointed back around. We stay green flag here at Bristol Motor Speedway. There is the caution finally thrown because the 56 had yet to get back going. But that is definitely, well, maybe there was something else that happened because maybe something a little bit further back in the pack. No, not. Oh, yes, it did. The 32, Billy Wise with contact and got the cone as well. So not quite sure if it was Billy Wise's spin or half spin that brought out the yellow or the 56 getting back going. But one of those two things brought out that yellow flag. And we're back under caution here with now only about 30 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely a lot of stuff happening around this racetrack, and you gotta think that the front runners are getting to the point where they kind of want to just get this race over with, because we are getting down to that point where, like we said, the pit strategy is kind of out of the window, and they kind of just want to race it out to the end.
Yeah, AJ Digby, he's got 33 laps on his tires currently, but there's really no telling how many of those laps are actually green flag laps. And then you have Tanner Sharp and Kyle Zimmer. They're on the freshest tires out of these leaders. Both of those cars have about 10 laps on their tires, but we've seen about a 20 lap delta on tires before when Digby was leading, and it was really hard for Sharp or Zimmer to get around him. So kind of an interesting call by AJ Digby, still out there leading. We have seen some wheel spin issues on older tires, so as this race continues to go on, Digby's going to have that in the forefront of his mind more and more when we go back to green flag racing. But a good run for Alan Capers and Tim Masters. We've seen both of those drivers involved in a few things tonight, but they're back up near the front once again, as this field just cycles through under yellow. We still, we have 14 of our 15 starters still on the track. Doug McCollum took the number 33 machine to the garage. He is now 34 laps down. Nate Catilla currently resides 3 laps down after some connection issues. Billy Wise in the number 32. He lost the lap under that last caution for a pit stop issue. But nonetheless, we have under 30 laps to go now.
Yeah, and it's you know, you gotta think that this as we get closer to the end of this race, really, you never know which restart is going to be the end restart. Really, we could go green to the end of this race theoretically. So, these restarts are really where the track position is changed, or the positions are being gained and lost. So these drivers probably want to kind of stop doing that because unless you're probably running further back in the field, but if you're AJ Digby, you probably would just want to get this race going and kind of start cycling through, because it will be over very quickly if we just go green. But we are doubled up, ready to go green again. He's got Alan Capers to his outside, so that's the 14 and the 13 right next to each other, and that's Tim Masters and Tanner Sharp, a pair of Chevys right behind them. Tim Masters has been pretty solid all day. We haven't talked about him too much, but he's been right up there in the top 5 for most of this race. Pace car has made that left turn onto pit road, putting those tire marks down. AJ gets a good restart on the front row. Alan Capers not able to get going so well, but he does actually, he's going to run that very high wall line so he can make a move around or keep his position on Tanner Sharp. He's getting in the wall a little bit, but stays stationed. Ooh, contact between Capers and Sharp there in turn 1, but they will keep it straight. And Digby must be loving what he's seeing in his mirror right now.
Yep, and that little nudge definitely kind of thwarted the run that number 3 machine had. Zuidema's been able, contact Capers and Sharp hard in the inside wall. Caution flag back in the air, and there was contact coming out of turn number 4 between those two, and like a kind of a dance partner, they both ended up spinning into the inside wall. Synchronized spinning here, and the number 13 caught that outside wall, turned him down into the nose of Tanner Sharp, and like tops on a table, they went spinning around, and that's definitely going to hurt the chances of Tanner Sharp, because he was rocketing through the field trying to get that second place from Alan Capers, and it's going to hurt the chances of Alan Capers. But look at this guy, AJ Digby, using that track position to his advantage. Be interesting to see who we see on pit road here. I know you kind of said a little while ago, Cameron, that you think that these drivers had made their bet, but Digby's now got 40 laps on his tires. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see tires matter here, but it seems like Digby's going to stay out along with most of the field. Sharp Kent is going to come down and get a fresh card. Number 13 of Capers stayed out, even though he made hard contact with the wall. Interesting calls.
Yeah, very, very interesting there at the front. And really, one of the drivers that has really benefited from that is Kyle Zimmer. We saw him get in trouble a little while ago, was kind of mired back in the back a bit, but now he's going to be starting 3rd on this next upcoming restart. And I believe he's got pretty fresh tires compared to the 2 in front of him. So definitely going to see if he can do something as well. But very interesting up here at the front. And I have to imagine that really, if we can get we can get this race going. We only have 20 laps to go right now. We're gonna have about 17, 18 on this restart. If we can keep it green, it'll be over in just several minutes. It doesn't really go by very long at all.
Yeah, laps wind down here at Thunder Valley very, very quickly once they get running. And that's exactly what AJ Digby wants to see. He wants to see this race play out with some clean and green racing. If they can make it all the way to the end, I'm sure he just wants to get that number 14 Zulu Motorsports machine out front and running away with this one, but he's not able to do so just yet as we go around under caution flag here. But a great run tonight for Zuidema. I mean, he's also on equal tires to Kyle Zimmer, and those tires on Zuidema and Zimmer's cars are 25, 26 laps or so fresher than Digby. So if they can make those little bit fresher tires work to get around the 14, we've seen it's very difficult to get around Digby tonight. But if they can do so on this restart, it might be lights out for the field.
Yeah, and Zuma actually started in the 14th spot, so did not take a qualifying time. The only driver, along with, I believe it was Lowhead and I think Tom Johnson, to not take a qualifying time. So he's done a good job. He's been up there in the top 5 this whole race, really done a great job at kind of solidifying his track position and made the most of it. So definitely have to wait and see if he can do something to eke this win out against AJ Digby. But AJ has been the kind of the class of the field as of this late stage of the race. Green flag is coming out, pace car off, and Digby gets a pretty good restart. He actually has about a car length lead on Zudema through turn 1. We'll see if Zudema can use that high side to his advantage. No, he cannot. So Digby does have that position on Zudema for the time being. See if Zimmer can do anything, but no. Ooh, contact in the backfield. Tom Johnson around. Caution is out again.
Yeah, and that really started with a little bit of contact. You'll see this on the replay. A little bit of contact with Tanner Sharp. He split the middle here, went 3 wide, made that contact with the 56 there. It unnerved the back end of that 56 machine. Alan Capers looked like a little bit of net code there. There was a little bit of a gap between those cars, but all of a sudden the 56 went sideways. But definitely the 56 had to check up when he hit that outside wall from that contact from the number 3. And all of a sudden, he was kind of going backwards on the racetrack, and that contact with Capers kind of cleaned him out, and unfortunately brought the yellow flag back into the air here, as we'll have 18 laps to go here at the line.
Yeah, and really, I don't think it looks like that. Really, Digby is really good on these restarts. He's using that inside line to his advantage very well through 1 and 2. I don't think it looks like it's going to be very hard for either Zudema or Zimmer or even Roberge. You know, he's right there in 4th spot. It's going to be hard for any of those drivers to do anything with Digby, at least on this restart, even with the fresher tires that I believe all of them have. So definitely all of them going to have their work cut out for them.
When I said 18 laps to go, my live timing and scoring app all of a sudden froze. So don't know what was up there. I finally got it back to working. So we got 14 laps to go this time by, and looking at it again, it's frozen again. So who knows what's up with that? I got to keep an eye on that one, see if I can figure that one out here before the end of the race. But it doesn't really matter, because I can keep track of what's happening on the track, which is probably the best thing to do at this point in the race. But AJ
14
Digby,
to go right now.
AJ Digby, still your race leader in the number 14 machine. Travis Zudema 2nd, Kyle Zimmer 3rd, 4th place Tim Masters, 5th place Fernando Matos. Look at Matos getting up there near the front of this field.
Yeah, good recovery for him. He was he actually was doing very well before he got in some trouble just a little while ago, but done a good job to recover from those issues he had.
Yeah, and we saw Matos spinning on a restart here not too long ago, but yep, he's made that recovery now into the 5th spot. Tanner Sharp, he's on the freshest tires out of the top 6, but he's got a little bit of damage on that number 3 machine. Definitely, he's going to have to keep an eye on that rear end damage. See if he can get that thing to victory lane. It'll be a mighty hurdle to get in front of Digby and Zudema, Zimmer, Masters, and Matos. But Tanner Sharp, he's been racing kind of like a bat out of hell here recently. And we'll have to see once he goes back to green flag what he can and cannot do, as pace car lights are off. We'll get set to go back to green flag racing here with 11 laps to go.
Yeah, very well. And if there's really one driver that can make that ground up, it's going to be Tanner, because he is a very aggressive racer, and if he wants to do something, he really will. He'll drive it into the corner and take 3 cars if he wants to. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here on this restart. But you know, we are definitely getting closer to the end stages of this race. It's going to be not much time left to go for these drivers. If they want to do something with that 14 of Digby, it's going to be now. But green flag is out. Digby gets a good restart. Zudema gets a good restart. Zimmer gets a good restart. Tim Masters not able to get going very well. He's actually getting bumped from Tanner Sharp. That's not what he wants to go. But here comes Zudema on the inside of turn 3. He's going to look on Digby, and I believe he might have had the lead when the caution came out.
Yeah, I think Chris Roberge went around in the number 98 machine. We'll have to see how this unfolded here on this replay. Oh, a little bit of a stack up there. Roberge and the 56 Tom Johnson getting together after that stack up in front of him. And that little bit of contact turned Tom into the inside wall as the field is trying to sort themselves out here on the racetrack. It's like Brady there coming to a complete stop as the field goes on by him. It seemed like the field caught the back end of the pace car at an awkward spot, and the whole field had to stack up. But your race leader is Zudema here with just under 9 laps to go.
Yeah, he was able to drive it into turn 3 under Digby and had about a car length lead when the caution came out. So good timing on that right there. But I don't think Digby is going to be too happy about that. We'll see if he can get the lead back on this restart, but definitely a pretty crazy development in this race, how that played out.
Yeah, definitely Zudema up front, trying to get that number 92 victory lane. And this is a really good run for Zudema. I mean, kind of a breakout run for him. It'd be great to see him get those checkered flags here tonight. AJ Digby, I know he'll be racing pretty hard here on this restart, but Zudema has fresher tires. Remember, Zudema, his tires are like 26 or so laps fresher than Digby, so that advantage that Zudema's going to have with those fresher tires could be fairly significant once we do go back to green in what should be the last green flag run of the race.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that I think this will probably be the last green flag we do get. So definitely going to be go time even more than all race. So Digby's going to have to really, I don't want to say this, but he's going to have to dig down deep and see if he can get that lead back. And I'll take the horrible final word for the night, even though I wasn't trying for it, but definitely gonna have to see. He's gonna want to get that lead back, definitely, and we've seen that outside line be strong on the restarts here and there. So nothing is really set in stone yet, but it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens.
Well, I don't want to jinx Zudema in any way, shape, or form here, but do want to mention the fact that Travis Zudema's best finish in his SimPossible Racing League career is a 4th place, and he's gotten 4th place twice at Phoenix earlier this year in the B car side of things, and 4th place at New Hampshire in the trucks. So if Zudema can at least come home with 3rd place or better, he will have his best career SimPossible Racing League finish. But I know he's looking for that checkered flag, and we're about to find out here in just about half a lap once we go back to green flag racing whether or not he'll have the stuff to get that checkered flag, because we'll have a 5-lap shootout here to determine your B car series winner at Bristol Motor Speedway. They call it Thunder Valley for a reason. Well, thunder is about to roar through the mountains here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Green flag back in the air, and Zudema gets a good restart. The 14 of Digby spun his tires just a little bit. That's those older tires that we've been talking about, but Digby gets a really good run off the corner. Here comes Tanner Sharp in the number 3, right down to the inside line. A little bit of contact there with Kyle Zimmer. Nothing really happening up front. Digby now looking to the inside of Zudema. Digby and Zudema side by side for the race lead. Digby gets a really good run through. Turns number 1 and 2. Caution is out. Who was at the front when the caution flag flew?
I think it might be Digby.
We'll have to wait and see. Definitely looks like Digby's up front for now. We'll have to go back and watch this the accident unfold here on the replay. Ooh, looks like Kyle Zimmer got a little bit high coming out of turn number 2. lost the back end, caught a couple of cars, including Billy Wise. But ladies and gentlemen, I think iRacing has determined who the race leader was at the time the caution flag came out. And it is the number 90, Travis Zudema, who here with only 2 laps to go under caution, this race isn't going back to green. Zudema has figured out a way to get to victory lane to get his first career SimPossible Racing League win. That's absolutely awesome for him in that number 90 machine.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it was really good racing there between him and Digby on the restart. I wanted to kind of see that go to the end. Might see, is this some kind of words being exchanged between Tanner Sharp and Digby here? I saw Tanner kind of pull up to the side of Digby, but he kind of swerved his car towards AJ, but just kind of stayed there. So I don't know. We'll have to see about that a little bit later, but definitely we did see some contact between those two during the race a couple times. So maybe a little bit heated there.
And I'm not quite sure what's going on with live timing and scoring. I think Matthew Lesniewski has come around to park his car. Not quite sure what's up with that one. He has parked it on pit road. It seemed like he might have crossed the start-finish line, but he will not be your race winner here tonight, because your race winner will be Travis Zudema here. And that's his first career win here in the SimPossible Racing League. Coming out of turn number 4, Travis Zudema, like I said, gets his first career win at Bristol Motor Speedway here under the caution flag. Great to see that number 90 go into victory lane. Second place, AJ Digby. Fernando Matos finishes 3rd. Great finish for Matos. That's a career high for him. Tanner Sharp 4th. Tim Masters rounds out your top 5. And rest in peace, Florida Marlins. Miami Marlins, I should say. Once upon a time it was the Florida Marlins. But they got 4 runs in the 9th, according to Carlos Acosta. So they made a gallant effort there at the end, but 6 runs was just a little bit too much. And you're seeing the whole field come around and congratulate Zudema for his first career win here. Ooh, a little bit of contact there on the front stretch, but I'm sure Zudema will light them up here at Bristol Motor Speedway, burn him down, getting his first career win. Cameron, it's always awesome to see a driver getting their first win.
Yeah, really, and this is a really cool place to do it. Bristol is it's not like a Daytona really, where it's like the Super Bowl of the sport, but Bristol is one of those tracks that when you win at it, it's just cool. Just cool to be in those encompassing grandstands around the track, and just kind of, he's doing those burnouts. He's really good burnouts right there, just going to town. So, go. Travis, if you listen to the broadcast, just keep burning them down. You deserve it, my friend. It's just a cool place to win, though. Short tracks are cool. Bristol's cool to kind of pull up there right to the flag stand and do some more burnouts. So, cool to see that tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Cameron, first-time winner Fernando Matos finishes 3rd. Great to see him up there. Tanner Sharp 4th. I mean, what could have been for Tanner Sharp and Kyle Zimmer, both of those drivers up near the front most of the race, and ended up with not quite the race they were hoping for.
Yeah, definitely, but definitely, it's cool to see that. I mean, it's cool to see a first-time winner. It's cool to see people get their first, their good finishes. But you're gonna get that at Bristol. You're gonna have people who kind of are upset at the end of the race. I think we saw Tanner a little bit upset there. Definitely not the finish he wanted. Chris Roberge got in some issues there at the end. He was running a lot better than he finished. Kyle Zimmer, last car in the lead lap, had a lot of troubles in the second half of this race. So, he was one of the front runners as well. So he's probably not going to be very pleased with his result. But either way, we're going to let these drivers kind of get their thoughts collected a little bit. We're going to go on break just a little bit, get these no break, okay. We're going to let these drivers get their thoughts collected just a little bit before we get the interviews for you in just a very short moment here. But gonna start with third place and go on towards your winner as normal.
Yeah, well, let's see if we can get that third place finisher up here into the booth here in just a moment. And here he is, Fernando Matos, Peter Short here in the 3-wide TV booth. Third place finish for you tonight, a career high, a career best finish. Definitely a crazy race. Tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Bristol is a crazy track, as we all know it. I had a little hiccup on every start, but luckily I was able to get lucky with cautions and get back to the podium.
Yeah, definitely, like you said, you were able to persevere here tonight. There was a lot of action. Cars pretty much all over the racetrack. It was absolutely crazy to see with all the action. But tell me a little bit about how these cars were driving tonight, because they looked like they were a handful.
Yeah, they were really a handful on their first few laps on fresh tires. Also, we got the long runs that drove better on old tires, but they were really tricky on fresh rubber.
Yeah, and we saw, those short runs, a lot of cautions happen on, just a few laps after cautions, breeding cautions definitely here tonight, without a doubt. But, third place, this is your career best finish. What are your chances of getting a win here in the SimPossible Racing League?
Well, we always walk step by step, right? So I got my first top 10 last month. Now then I got the top 7. Now I top 3. So walking step by step, taking race by race. It's a long season. I know some road courses are coming up in the summer, so I'm looking forward to those. Just race by race.
Yeah, well, I think that is pretty much how you have to take it, race by race. We hear that out of a lot of drivers. AJ Digby, I know, says that each and every week, just race by race, and that is the best way to get those results. But speaking of race by race, the next race will be at Richmond International Raceway next week. What are your thoughts about Richmond? It's another short track.
I really like Richmond. It's one of the few tracks that I have actually raced before. It's my first season. I like learning a new track every week almost, which is crazy. But Richmond is a track I have raced before on other leagues. So I hope it will go better, that I know the track a little more.
All right, well, you finished third here tonight, and, a better finish would be second or first. Maybe you'll be able to get one of those spots next week at Richmond. We'll definitely hope to see you there, but thank you for stopping by. Before we let you go, you got some shout-outs for us?
I want to give a shout out to my parents who are watching, to my brother and friend Max, who watches every week, and to my boss and to my coworkers who often watch live or had children the next day. So a big shout out to all those people, and my sister. I couldn't be here without them.
All right, well, Fernando, we thank you for stopping by, and best of luck next week.
Thank you, man.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's your third place finisher, Fernando Matos. And now we'll go down and get the second place finisher driver, AJ Digby. And I think that Cameron Rich has actually caught up with AJ Digby.
You would think correctly. AJ, you got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Oh man, I feel like I was just talking to you just a minute ago, and I know how you're feeling right now. That was so close there at the end. But before I ask you about that, kind of just take us through the race, how it felt from your perspective as a driver. Like the track looked like pretty treacherous out there.
It was an interesting race. I love Bristol. It's the site of my first ever oval win in C street stocks, and I've always felt like I've been pretty good here, so I was real happy about that. The open qualifying format was, I was not expecting that, but was luckily able to start second and start up towards the front, and had a pretty good run going, was up there in the front cycle, decided to stay out because I felt like track position's just so important. If you have that outside line here, you're pretty set other than the very restart, and that's about it. So I was trying to stay out front, trying to keep everything going, and eventually had to pit, got cycled back a little bit, got some tires, and worked my way back up through the front with speed and pace, and then was able to kind of hold on to it up front, and just trying to stay up front as long as I could.
Yeah, it looks like you did lead the most laps tonight, so you were able to stay out front for the majority of this race. Just kind of got, not on the restart there, just by about a half a car length or so. You got nipped on that restart by Travis Zudema before the caution came out. So, but I do want to ask you, we saw some contact there on the racetrack between you and Tanner a couple times, and I saw him pull up to your car a little bit. Was there kind of some words exchanged there between you two?
No words, but I can't remember the lap or anything like that, but at one point I was leading and he just ran me over. My car kind of lifted, my rear end was lifted off the ground, and fell back to 5th or 6th with a lot of damage at that point, and I wasn't really happy about it. So then a couple laps later I just gave him a light bump and run, and he slid back to 5th without wrecking, and I would just, it's Bristol, I had to bump and run, and if he was going to be aggressive and try to slam into me to take me out, I was going to give him a little tap just to move by him. I was faster than him, and as I said at the truck series, I've been bullied too long in this league, I believe, and in some ways I had to be a little bit stronger and step up, and if a slight bump and run at Bristol upsets him, he should go back and look at all the other times he's wrecked me at the end of races.
Well, that's definitely short track racing for you, but we do have another one next week, the Richmond Raceway, which is my home track, so I'm very biased towards it. I love that racetrack, but how are you looking forward to that place?
I do like Richmond. Haven't done it in a while, but it is a track I like, so we'll kind of see how that goes next week.
All right, man. Well, either way, I kind of want to just give you a chance to give your shout-outs a little bit. I know you're a little bit not happy with finishing second when you could have really had a good chance to win this race, but either way, just give you a chance to get those shout-outs here real quick.
Well, on that note, I definitely don't mean this in any way bad against Travis, but I did go back, look at the replay, and I know I don't know exactly how iRacing works, but I was ahead of Travis a frame before and a frame after the caution lights turned on around the track. But regardless, if he gets the win, that's a huge congrats to him. He ran a hell of a race to pull that over-under move on me and ran me clean the whole time. So huge congrats to him, and congrats to Fernando for getting that third place finish as well. And then otherwise, just huge thanks to my spotter, Brian Newton, the other guys at Zulu, and you guys for putting on this broadcast, and Jeff for the league. I always love racing with these guys, and Travis ran a really clean, hard race there at the end to go and get that win.
All right, AJ. Well, thank you so much for talking to us, as always, and we definitely hope to see you again next week.
Thank you.
Well, that was AJ Digby, your second place finisher tonight, and I believe Peter Short has gone ahead and caught up with our winner, Travis Zudema.
Yes, I have caught up with Travis Zudema down here in Victory Lane, picking up his first career SimPossible Racing League victory. And Travis, my oh my, that race had action all the way through it, all the way around the track. How were you able to get your first career checkered flag here?
Man, it was just by the seat of my pants, bro. I was just dodging and weaving and just it was pretty chaotic out there. It was a good race though. Hats off to everybody out there.
Yeah, well,
am I in Victory Lane? For real? Is that where we are?
Yeah, you are
Really?
in Victory Lane.
Oh my
you
God,
found
bitch.
Victory Lane on top of a building here at Bristol. One of the most unique Victory Lanes in all of NASCAR, on top of a building. And yeah, you're definitely here. You didn't qualify, started at the back, which sometimes puts you at a disadvantage, but you raced your way up through the field. Talk a little bit about pit strategy, because it seemed like pit strategy was pretty important tonight.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you just had to make sure that, you weren't using your equipment or, going through your fast repairs quick. That was my main issue, was starting at the back and then trying to work my way through the field without having to use all 4 of my fast repairs. I think I ended up with 1 left at the end of the race. It was fun. It was a blast. I'd do it all again.
Yeah, we definitely saw some drivers decide to conserve those fast repairs, and definitely looked like you did so as well. But you did have about 20 laps fresher tires than AJ Digby. Was that going through your mind there when just before you got around him?
Honestly, I didn't even know what type of strategy he was on. We were both pretty even. I might have been on 20 lap newer tires, like you said, but it dang sure didn't show on the track because he was right there every time. I thought when that caution came out that he was ahead of me, so I thought I was going to end up finishing second. But iRacing waved me around. It's awesome. Surreal feeling. Can't believe it.
Yeah, well, definitely getting that first career victory here at Bristol Motor Speedway. We go to Richmond International Raceway next week here in the B cars. What are your thoughts about Richmond?
Oh, I love me some Richmond, some New Hampshire and stuff like that. I'm pretty decent at short flat tracks. Comes from my background here in Wisconsin. Those are my those are my strong tracks, I should say. I do better at short flat tracks than I do at, 1.5 mile tracks.
Yeah, definitely not too many high banked racetracks out in Wisconsin. But nonetheless,
No.
Next week, Richmond International Raceway. I know we'll see you there. And I'm sure before we let you go, I'm sure you want to give us some shout-outs here from Victory Lane, because it is very special getting your first career victory here at SimPossible.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to give a shout-out to all the guys in the SimPossible League, man. They put on one hell of a show, and they race their hearts out week in, week out. Shout-out to the Wise guys, man. Billy Wise and all the boys back at the shop that make this possible for me to get out here and run. And Jeff Schmidt, man, he does an awesome job, organizing this whole thing, putting it all together. And all the guys over there at 3Y TV, man, this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for you. I mean, it would be, but we wouldn't have the notoriety. You guys do a hell of a job broadcasting. I can't wait to go back and watch.
Well, tonight was a lot of fun. I know Cameron and I, we had a lot of fun tonight. It was a pretty good broadcast, and you guys definitely made it interesting for us to commentate, so we thank y'all each and every week. But Travis, your first win. But just before we let you go, one last question. Can you go back-to-back next week at Richmond?
Oh, probably not. Knowing my luck, that's just the way it goes. Like I said, I'm surprised I even got up there today. I was looking, I felt like I had like a top 10 car. So that's just the luck of the draw at Bristol. Dodging wrecks and trying to keep a clean car. I suppose the same thing will try to be happening at Richmond next week. Just got to work your way through the field and try to be clean about it. Don't want to be overly aggressive, not trying to make no enemies out there.
All right, well, that is Travis Slicing and Dicing Zudema getting his first career victory. Travis, we thank you for stopping by. Wish you best of luck next week.
Appreciate it, man. Y'all do a great job, man.
All right, well, that was your first time winner, Travis Zudema. And Cameron, I think you've caught up with league organizer Jeff Schmidt.
Yeah, I got the man himself. Jeff, you got a copy?
I got you loud and clear, buddy. How you doing?
All right, I'm doing pretty well. It was a good race out there. Race number 7 done and over with out of this very long schedule. But man, Bristol, Bristol is a place, isn't it?
It's surely a beast. There's nothing like Bristol. It's the fastest short track out there, and it creates some tension, man. It really does. It creates good racing, but it also creates problems, and it's nothing to do with the league. It's nothing to do with anything other than it being Bristol, a really narrow, fast short track, and things happen very quickly here.
Yeah, that's really the best answer you can give about this place is, yeah, it's just Bristol. But we did see a first-time winner tonight, so that's really cool to see. Always good to see that in the league. And, saw some bumping and banging and spinning and crashing and all that good stuff that we love about Bristol. That's what makes Bristol Bristol. But either way,
Yeah, man, congrats to, sorry for cutting you off there. Congrats to Travis for winning his first SimPossible race. I don't believe he's even had a podium. I could be wrong, but yeah, congrats to Travis for winning that, man. Congrats to Fernando on his first podium in the league. Awesome guys, man, and just it's always so cool to see different guys either win or get podium, and that's not cut down to the guys that continually do in our league. There's a lot of fast guys in here, and to see someone progress to the point of getting to that point and even beating some of the few that are very fast, it's very cool to see. We're very proud of everyone always for everything they do, but yeah, it's nice to see a little mix-up,
Yeah, absolutely. But speaking of mix-up, we did have a champion crowned last Monday. Kyle Zimmer got the championship for we already got the spoiler alert early in the broadcast, so we'll say it again. Spoiler alert for the championship last Monday, but either way, I'm going to ask you this right here. Is there any news on a new series for the Monday night yet, or is that still being decided?
Not quite sure if what happened with Jeff Schmidt there. Maybe a little bit of a connection issue. Jeff, you got a copy?
I think we've lost Jeff for the time being, so I think we'll just go on to the results here real quick.
All right, well, on to the results. Like we said, first time race winner here at SimPossible, Travis Zudema taking that number 90 machine to victory lane. Second place, AJ Digby in the number 14. Fernando Matos came home third. Career best finish for Fernando. Great to see that. Tanner Sharp comes home fourth. Tim Masters fifth. Alan Capers in the number 13 machine. He had an up-down night. Kind of a roller coaster for him. He comes home in sixth. Billy Wise. We saw that number 32 sideways quite a bit, but he comes home in the 7th position. Chris Roberge comes home 8th in the 98. Johnny Berardi finishes on the lead lap in 9th place for the 99. Brian Lowhead in the 66 finishes 10th. And Cameron, I think you got 11th through 15th?
Yeah, finishing 11th is going to be Tom Johnson in the 56. We saw him getting some issues there throughout the race. Kyle Zimmer coming home in the 12th spot, the last car on the lead lap. Not a good day for him, I would presume, but he is also the champion from Monday, so probably not too worried about that. Nick Catilla coming home in 13th, Matthew Lesniewski in 14th, and Doug McCollum in 15th. But either way, that is your Bristol race for tonight. 200 laps are done and over with, and
yeah, I apologize, guys. I had a disconnection issue here with the plug. My fault here. I apologize, but I am here.
Well, I'll go ahead and ask you this one last question I had before we get off the air real quick. Is there any news for the upcoming Monday series?
Yeah, you know what? We're doing a poll. All the drivers in this league, we have a chat that we all talk to. I'm pretty sure every single driver's in that chat now, and we are voting. We're voting for it, man. So it's going to be trucks or K&N series. That's what it's looking like, and they're to the wire right now. So one vote could break it or make it, and it's going to either be the truck series again or K&N car. And either way, whatever the drivers want to do, I support it 100%. The trucks have been great to us. The K&N car is a lot of fun to run too, so it could be cool to mix it up. But if it stays trucks, perfectly fine with it. If we move to K&N car, perfectly fine with it. Yeah, man, it's going to come down to the wire of the popular vote.
That is very, very cool to hear that. But before we let you go and wrap this broadcast up, we know you got a lot of people you want to thank that keeps this league going and going like an Energizer bunny. Excuse me. So I'm going to give you a chance to shout them out real quick.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. You know, you guys up in the 3 wide booth, always amazing broadcast. I mean, it couldn't be any better. It really couldn't. You guys do such a tremendous job broadcasting these races, and I know in my heart that you guys are going to make it big in either broadcasting in one form or another, or something else for doing what you're doing, because what you do is amazing for us, and you know, we are just completely blessed to have you on our side. So it's been an amazing partnership, and I love watching the races. You guys are amazing at what you do, and I truly mean that when I say that. I mean, it's the best broadcast I've ever seen in my life, and it's cool, man. It's really awesome. Got to thank the drivers. You know, without them, this wouldn't be anything. This league is meant for the drivers. So all the drivers, their family, their friends, you know, importantly, their family, you know, to help out with them, and to, you know, to live with a disability in your household is not an easy thing to deal with. Whether it be a minor disability or a major one, you know, regardless, it's not something that's easy to deal with, but we all adapt to dealing with something like that. And the people that help out in our families that help with these things, you know, the daily life activities that people take for granted, these are huge things that people don't think about. They just don't think about it, and it's very important. It really is. And these guys' families have done such an amazing job with taking care of these guys and helping out however they can, that it made them awesome people. So thank you very much to the families, because without them, we wouldn't have the awesome guys that we have racing here. We wouldn't. I mean, man, we have some really cool guys. Everyone is laughing and having the blast of their life racing here, and that's what we want to. That's what we want to do. We're going to continue to do it. I'm blessed to be able to create this. It's truly amazing. It really is. I'm sorry for going on and on about it, but it is something that words can't put into perspective of what we actually do. Words just don't work. So it's hard to even come in here and talk about what we do and how the guys are and the racing and whatnot, and actually make sense of it, because it's simply impossible. You know, I gotta thank my mom, my dad for supporting this. I mean, it's very cool. You know, my mom actually is the one who came up with the name SimPossible, so that's pretty badass, and she is awesome. She's a huge supporter of this thing. My dad is disabled. I'm a caretaker for him. I have been for 10 years now, and you know, unless you live in a household with someone with a disability, you really truly don't understand what it all entails. And you know, to be able to do this is the coolest thing in the world. It really is. And I love everyone, man.
Well, those are some very cool words from the owner, operator, CEO, big guy, dude of SimPossible Racing League. We thank you so much for talking with us each and every week, and you know, we are privileged to work with you as well. It's always great to watch these drivers do what they do, put on great racing, and probably, you know, some of the best racing we do watch here on 3-Wide TV. But either way, thank you very much, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this broadcast up real quick. I want to give a shout out to SimTV for these cameras that allow us to watch all these awesome angles every week, see this good racing that these guys put on. And just, you know, a shout out to all of our viewers, all of our chatters that keep us entertained in the chat. We do read your comments. We might not respond to each and every one, but we do read you. So if you're still watching, just remember that. Come and hang out with us each Wednesday now. We will be back Mondays too, probably pretty soon. So just keep that in mind. But that's all we got for you guys tonight. We're going to go and wrap this up and probably get to bed. But either way, from myself, Peter Short, and Carlos Acosta, bid you all a good night.